Hey guys, Darth Glork here, back with part 4 of our Everlasting Summer playthrough. So, last time, we, some stuff developed. What's his name? Shurik. Shurik went missing, and so we had to go find him. Now, naturally, our character dragged his feet because he is a bad person. However, he was kind of pledged and forced into doing something good for a change, and we ended up finding him. It turns out he was in these mines that were actually beneath a bomb shelter that were beneath the old campground. So, lots of crazy, spooky things there. Now, we did find him. What's her name? Slavia went with us because she is bae, and she's a better person than we are, and so now we're back. So, Shurik is alive and fine, and now we are all back home, and so obviously that's a good thing. Now, at this particular moment, there is a victory celebration celebrating Shurik's proud, triumphant, return, and celebrating mostly what we did by going. Not that we deserved it, because we barely wanted to do it at all. But so now we're having a celebration. So there's 3 different ingredients that are in these 3 locations to make a cake. And so we already got the strawberries from earlier, and so that was one of the things we need, and now there are 3 others. And so what's her name? Olga. Olga is having us collect the ingredients. Our character naturally threw a fit because he's an idiot. And so that's the plan now. So we're just going to keep pressing on in, man. So let's hit the infirmary first. And there is some weird things, though, because more people dodged the question of, so where are we type of thing yesterday. That was kind of spooky. Also, what was the other thing? So yeah, that was kind of interesting, and there was something else, but I already forgot. So let's move on and to the infirmary first. Oh, that was the other thing, is these ingredients are at some weird places, and even I'm noticing it's weird. Like, why is there flour at the library? You know what I mean? So there is some weirdness going on there. Anyway, I feel like I visited the infirmary too often recently. Why? The nurse there is hot. But what can I do? That's how things pan out. I sighed and knocked on the door. Come in, the nurse said with a trace of a sing-song accent. Ah, nurse, how happy I am to see you. Good afternoon. Olga sent me to get some, I hesitated slightly, yeast. Ah, sure. She gave me a broad smile. It's just that I don't have any. Pioneer. How so? She said that, well, I had some, but now there's none left. I didn't even bother asking why she had it in the first place. Well, don't you worry. You can have some aspirin, for example. That could be of some use to me, actually. Where do I get it, then? I sighed. Take this. She opened the drawer and pulled out some kind of bottle. I took a closer look. It was some kind of beer. I missed it. It's apparently, I think it's a beer from the USSR. I think I glanced. What's the matter? Beer is also a fermented product. She gave me a deep gaze. Nobody will even notice. She had a point, but everything just looked so grotesque to me that I couldn't even find anything to say. Are you sure? Absolutely. Okay, then. The bottle clearly wouldn't fit into the pocket of my shorts. Well, thanks. I mumbled slyly, leaving the infirmary. Well, beer certainly could replace yeast. Even my limited knowledge of chemistry and biology was enough to accept this. But generally, walking around with this bottle in my hands looked like a silly idea to me, so I decided to bring it to Olga's cabin and hide it there. But I had to reach it somehow without anybody noticing the beer. I hid the bottle under my shirt. Uh-oh, and everything would have been fine, but Slavia called out to me at the square. Actually, she sprang up from behind me so suddenly that she even gave me a start. How's it going? What exactly? You're searching for ingredients. Ah, so you know already. Yes, I do. Slavia smiled. It's going all right, I answered, trying not to give away my unrest. And what do you have there? She pointed at the bottle sticking out from under my shirt. Ah, this. She got me. It's nothing. I blushed with a silly giggle. Time to go. Yeah, that was smooth. I was almost running, leaving the square with the puzzled Slavia behind. It's great that she is one of those people who doesn't ask unnecessary questions. But there are people in this camp who like nothing better than to poke their noses into other people's business. Passing the pioneers' cabins, I stumbled upon Ulyana, naturally. What are you hiding there? She gave me one of her cheeky looks. I thought there was no point denying anything, so I replied in a provocative manner. None of your business. I'm a cipher officer bearing a message to headquarters. That's certainly a big message. I was carrying the bottle at waist height, so I was slightly embarrassed. You want some help? I'll deal with it on my own. I walked past her confidently and proceeded on my way. To my surprise, she didn't say anything nor try to pursue me. That is kind of surprising. There was nobody at Olga's cabin, so I successfully managed to stuff the bottle under my bed. That's a decision. Once I got outside, I sighed with relief. Really, I couldn't believe that I would ever worry about that much about a single bottle of beer, like I was back in high school. It's a good thing it's safe now. Even if somebody finds it, I'll claim that it's not mine. I can always think of a sort of suitable excuse from my enormous experience. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows how smooth you are. All right, to the clubhouse. I'm saving the library for last because that means we're gonna have to talk to Xenia, and she kind of seems a little bit mean. Anyway, it feels like I've gone through more things today than all the previous days combined. Thus, approaching the clubhouse, I'd even forgotten to think about how awkward it would be to look for sugar there. Yeah, there's some weird ingredients here. That is interesting. Shirk and Electronic were enthusiastically building something. They were so busy that they didn't even notice me. I looked closely. It was some kind of a robot. Or at least the body of one. Moreover, the robot was female and had animal ears. Well, they have good taste. I didn't want to make up theories about purpose of such a device for luminaries of camp cybernetics. Even though the design looked practically workable, I had my doubts that this robot were ever being able to conquer Earth, or at least being able to do anything on its own. But they seemed to be enjoying the process more than the result itself, and that was something we shared, even though I didn't want to admit it. Yeah, that'd be awful to actually have friends and have things in common with somebody. That'd be the worst. On the other hand, they weren't afraid of possible failure, criticism, or jokes. They were working towards their goal without paying attention to others who would call it unrealistic or even absurd. That's because they know what's up, man. Oh, it looks like I'm truly comparing them to luminaries of the sciences. Hey guys, I greeted them uncertainly. Ah, Semyon, come in. We're always glad to see you. I was actually already inside. You know, sorry for what happened yesterday. I barely remember anything, but, well, never mind, it's okay. And what brings you to our humble abode? Electronic looked at me slyly. Sometimes I feel that he makes such a face when he knows something about the other person, something he can use in a right moment. Sugar. I need sugar. An image from an ancient video game suddenly came into my mind where some kind of unit like a builder or something cried out with one of its 5 pixel stature, "Gold, we need more gold." Ah, it's a Warcraft 3 reference. Well done, that's very funny. I mean, at least I assume it's I'm assuming that they're talking about the grunts. Isn't it? No, it's not grunts, I almost think the grunts is the melee unit. Anyway, it's the builder unit from the orc faction, I believe. He's like, "Gold, we need more gold," I think. I might be wrong about that reference, though. Speaking of Warcraft 3, freaking rest in peace. Way to go, Blizzard, finding a way to ruin a remaster. Disgusting. Anyway, moving on. We got it, said Electronic calmly. Why would you want it? I felt that I shouldn't explain to Shirk that they want to bake a cake for him. I mean, they're baking a cake for Shirk and me, you know what I mean. I shouldn't spoil the surprise. I don't know. Olga told me to get some. Okay, hang on. Electronic disappeared behind the door into the next room. And why do you have sugar here? Why not in the canteen? When the food truck came last time, it was the last thing to unload. And given that our building is the closest one to the entrance, they decided to leave it here to save some effort. That's reasonable, isn't it? The door opened, revealing Electronic hauling a huge bag behind him. I really don't know what the size of a cake will be, but that was obviously too much sugar. Well, thanks, but I don't need it all. But where would we put it? Electronic gave me a surprised look. We don't have a place for it. You asked for sugar, so take it. It seemed like that previous smile of his wasn't there without reason. Maybe you'll help me then? It's not that far to carry. We're busy. He pointed his hand at the robot. I gazed at Shirk. He owed me after all. He hesitated, then looked away in shame. I sighed, took the bag, and headed to the door. What a sissy. Why can't I just take it on my own? It's one bag. Don't be such a baby. Thanks anyway, I said at parting, exerting myself. He's such a sissy. But I didn't make it far. Just after a mere 20 meters, I had to put the bag down to give a rest. I reiterate, what a sissy. I had no idea how much it weighed, but it felt more like 20 kilos. On one hand, it was just 200 meters to the canteen. On the other hand, even such a distance with this payload on my shoulder, or alternatively in my hands, or on my legs, or on my arm, or even on my head, looked impossible for me to cover. And as I resigned myself to move in minor sprints with prolonged pauses between them, so I could get there by night at least, I heard a voice behind me. Maybe I could help you? Lena, I'm so happy to see you. I saw Lena in front of me. I don't think you can. It was one of those moments when I felt painfully how dramatically I was out of shape. Yeah, no kidding. I can bring a handcart. A handcart. Why didn't I think of that myself? Yeah, that'd be great. Wait here, I'll be right back. Sorry, really trying hard not to die on camera. I'm like snorting and choking. Because as usual, I'm all congested when I wake up in the morning. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Okay. She smiled and ran in the direction of the square. What would I do without her? It's good that Lena isn't always that shy and can take the initiative sometimes. I started to think. She seemed quite unusual now, with no trace of shyness on her face, and actually the complete opposite, smiles and confidence. It's almost like she likes you or something, huh? The offer of help wasn't something extraordinary by itself, but getting it from Lena... A few minutes later, she came back with a smallish handcart. I put the bag down on it. Thanks. Don't mention it. She blushed and looked down. The Lena we all know is back. So, I'll go then. Yeah, see ya, and thank you again, I shouted after her. Sometimes I felt like there were two different people living inside Lena, but the second one, confident, happy, and sometimes even bold, only appears when she talks to me. Imagine that! It's almost like they're related! Or am I making things up again? Oh, yes, of course. Let's backtrack on actually making progress. What was I thinking? I thought that it would be better if I get all the ingredients at once, so I headed to Olga's cabin with the handcart. Alright, beautiful. Last stop, library. If every other place on the cake ingredient list made at least some sense to me, then flour from the library made none. I thought hard about who would put it in the library and why, but couldn't find any sane explanation after all. Given Xenia's harsh nature, I'd better knock first. Open. Hi, please don't hurt me. Xenia peered at me closely from behind her glasses. What do you want? Don't think anything weird, but I don't want to look like an idiot and decide to explain things carefully. I need some flour. Olga said that it's here. I understand that it sounds strange to keep flour at the library, but I was sent to you, and it's needed for a cake to celebrate Shirk's rescue. Yeah, I'll have the flour. What's so strange about it? Xenia replied with surprise. Or, I guess it's less anger, more surprise. What's so strange about it? Just genuine curiosity? At that second, I felt like that I'd been hit in the head with a heavy weight and lost the ability to understand anything at all. Flour in the library? Sure. What's so strange about it? We're in Wonderland. I'm Alice, and now I'm gotta eat that magic mushroom, and I'll be back home. Hey, yeah. I was daydreaming. Wait here, I'll be right back. She disappeared behind the bookshelves while I folded my hands and started waiting. A moment later, the sound of a trapdoor groaning on its hinges reached me. Hey, you need some help? I inquired loudly. I'll deal with it, Xenia barked out to me. She seems to be in the base. It's marked that Xenia said this, but obviously she didn't. This is his internal monologue as usual. She seems to be in the basement, so I'll have to wait a little. Okie dokie. A few minutes later, a few minutes passed, but Xenia still hadn't returned. I started to get worried when the door had suddenly flung open and Alyssa came into the library. Oh, Lord. She looked surprised, too, seeing me there. What are you doing here? Am I not allowed to be here? I said rudely to her. Alyssa was clearly a bit overwhelmed. What do I care? She snorted and headed to Xenia's table. And why are you here, then? Alyssa measured me with her eyes carefully and almost opened her mouth to say something, but then seemed to change her mind and turned away, hiding her hands behind her back. Returning a book? I blurted the first thing off the top of my head. It's none of your business, she replied with a hint of hesitation. What book is it? Alyssa was silent. Oh, come on, let me see it. I wonder if Miss High Voltage Keep Away reads. It's none of your business. Her voice was even less confident. Oh, it's none of your business. There we go, kind of quiet and less sure. Okay. I don't insist or anything. In fact, I was quite interested to find out what Alyssa was reading. Moreover, I was quite amused to see a book in her hands. TV, movies, or a computer, if one were available here. All these things seemed to be much more appropriate entertainment for a girl like her. But she had a book instead. I feel like just minding my own business. Alright, we're gonna save it over this because that's fine. I guess we'll try to see it, I guess. My curiosity won. I struck at the right moment when Alyssa was looking away and snatched the book. Ow! She screamed. In the following second, her face took on an expression that it made me question my decision. If I'm about to die, at least I want to know what for. I held a copy of Gone in the Wind in my hands. That was the same book that Lena was reading an evening on the bench. I was so astonished that I completely forgot about my imminent death. Is it interesting? Yeah. Okay, so she doesn't look too pissed. All right, I think we're okay. Alyssa answered without any enthusiasm, blushing. Okay then, I handed the book back to her. Alyssa threw it on the table and left the library quickly without looking at me. So, human things aren't alien to her. In the end, she too is a girl. After a quick review of everything that had just happened, I concluded that there was actually nothing that strange. Finally, Xenia's deep groan rang out, reaching each and every corner of the library. Grab it! I passed by the bookshelves and beheld the perspiring librarian sitting near the trapdoor leading into the basement with a small sack next to her. Well, they might have some sort of a storehouse down there. Thanks. I took the sack and left the library. Thank goodness it wasn't too heavy, so I carried it down to Olga's cabin without too much effort. Finally, it seemed that everything had been collected. I took the handcart with sugar outside and put the sack with the flour in it, followed by the 2 baskets of strawberries that somehow fitted in between. And that beer was hidden under my shirt just in case. I don't know why he's acting so weird about it. The day was coming to its end, so I had to hurry, as cake itself will need some time to bake. Of course, I'd rather enjoy lying down, closing my eyes, and getting a decent sleep, but I just couldn't let Olga down. Yeah, how about you should prioritize that? You should, suck it up and be a man, and less like, a toddler. Anyway, indeed, after all the trouble I'd gone to, I felt even personally responsible for the success of this event. You should. Coming to the square, I stopped for a moment to catch my breath. It wasn't that the cart was that heavy, it ran smoothly without any noticeable effort required. It was just that any physical exertion caused pain to me now. Both a physical and a mental one, because he is incredibly delicate. I sat down on the bench and closed my eyes for a moment. What's that? I didn't really give a damn who it was, probably just a fellow pioneer girl taking an interest in an unfamiliar companion in distress. What are you talking about? I asked her tiredly. She didn't reply. Those are the ingredients for a cake. Do you like cakes? I don't know. What, you've never tried cake? I don't know. Obviously the girl didn't get what I was talking about, but it didn't surprise me at the moment. I really wasn't interested in the conversation. I was so tired that I had zero intention of classifying external distractions and tagging them as either common or uncommon. I see. Come down the canteen later and have a bite. Really? Really. And what are they made of? What? I asked indifferently. These cakes. Well, some flour, some sugar, various fillings. Now that's a strange question. Doesn't she know what cakes are made of? And you have it all here? Yeah, sorta. And sugar? And sugar. Could you lend me a little? What for? I thought it was over the top. A sudden gust of wind made me grab the cart instinctively and open my eyes. However, nobody was there. Am I daydreaming? I noticed, though, that the sugar sack was untied and a small heap of it had poured out. That's interesting. Could it be that she was scared by the wind and ran away? And why was I keeping my eyes closed and having a conversation with her? That is far weirder. So that was weird. There's been, I don't know if you guys remember last episode, but there's actually been a kind of a slew of weird events going on. When I was in the infirmary, Semyon, he was in the infirmary, and a hand reached through the window when he was distracted and put an apple on the desk. Now, we don't know who it was because he was never able to find out. But it's interesting because this is the second kind of weird thing that's happened. And then Shurik kept saying that he was hearing voices in the mines and stuff. So there's been more and more weird things going on. Not to mention the whole fuzzy flashback thing that's happened twice to our character while he's sleeping. And so one of them was how the game started, and then one of them was as he was dreaming, he dreamt about... What was the second one? He dreamt about one of them when he was sleeping. So more and more weird things are happening. It makes you wonder, there is something else going on here. Something otherworldly or something. And I'm going to find out what. Anyway, having fixed the sack, I got it from the bench and continued on my challenging strawberry way. There wasn't a single person near the canteen. No wonder, dinner was still an hour away. I brought the handcart to the rear exit and handed the foodstuffs to the camp cook. She must have already been told what to do with them as she gave me an unpleasant look. I'm not sure how long it takes to bake a cake, but it seems she had to hurry. Look, I did my best, man. It's not my fault Semyon's slow and weak. I just wanted to relax for the remaining time until dinner. In short, I was so tired that I just sat on the steps and waited. My eyes closed themselves. I guess I got so tired throughout the day that I didn't even notice how someone came up to me until they patted me on the shoulder. Hi. Miki was standing before me. Yeah, I didn't need a mirror to imagine the expression of skepticism and annoyance on my face. Oh, excuse me, I must have interrupted you. No problem, just sitting here. Oh, alright then. Miki beamed with a smile. I was just coming to dinner. I thought that it's time already, and then it appeared to me that it's too early. But I decided to check just in case. Maybe it's not me who's mistaken, but the clock is. Well, not the clock. Clocks can't be mistaken. It's just that I misread it. She seemed to be ultimately confused now and fell silent. It's still about half an hour before dinner. Oh, that's great. Then I'll sit here and wait with you if you don't mind. Frankly speaking, I do mind. It's because he's an idiot. You know, I have some matters to attend to. I stood up quickly and left without saying goodbye, ignoring Miku as I always did because he's a bad person, while she screamed something after me, which he ignored because he is a worthless POS. A moment later, I got to the square and sat on the bench with the firm intention of finding a quiet and safe place to wait for dinner. I think this is the first time in the last 4.5 days when I felt like this. I wasn't just irritated because of some insignificant details, but indeed I was really angry. I've completely stopped caring where I am and why I'm here. I don't care about how to get out either. What's driving me mad is that I always have to carry out some stupid task given by our camp leader, and it's always me who gets into stupid situations and sometimes ends up looking like a clown. If all of this is some alien trick or a plot of the universal mind, they better consult with their psychiatrist. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fists. The most annoying thing is that everything that happens seems to happen by itself somehow. I'd be happier not carrying around bags of sugar that weigh a ton, but I had no choice at all. I mean, any other option would lead to much worse consequences than a muscle strain or hurt pride. Who are you angry with? Oyana was standing in front of me and smiled slyly. Nobody really? I answered absently. But my fist gave me away. Just like that. Oh, okay. Okay, it's up to you. You'd better tell me, why did you run around the camp the whole day with some kind of bag? I had to, I replied reluctantly. I guess it was food. Maybe it was. Oyana was about to say something, but at that moment, the bell rang, calling the pioneers for dinner. I sighed in relief and quickly headed to the canteen, leaving Oyana behind. Semyon, thank you very much. For what? The camp leader gave me a friendly smile. For the cake, of course. Ah, sure. It was at that exact moment that I understood the true meaning of the saying, keep your thanks to feed your cat. What? Is that a saying? I've never heard that. Maybe it's a Russian saying. You didn't tell anybody that. You didn't tell anybody. This ought to be a surprise. It's a question. You didn't tell anybody. This ought to be a surprise. There we go. I guess that's better. Yeah, that's my boy. And now off you go to dinner. Olga waved her hand, pointing at the canteen. I stepped through the doorway slowly and started to look for a free place. It turned out there was plenty today, so I got the chance to eat all alone. There was fish with mashed potatoes for dinner. What misfortune, once again, I'll be left half hungry. And didn't we have fish for lunch? Is it a fish-only day today? He is such a whiner. Such a whiner. And, like, suddenly he's all pissed about having to actually do things for people. God, I don't mind saving over that. I feel like taking that book doesn't really have any consequences. I'm feeling pretty calm about that one. Anyway. But he's such a whiner, like... I don't know. I guess his mind is he's just such a different person than I am. His mind is in a completely different spot. Because I don't know. If I was being able to talk to people like Olga or Slavia or whatever, or Lena, like people like that all day, I would be a happy man. Like if I was getting even to work side by side with them, if they wanted my company doing whatever, I'd be happy to be there. It's just I just don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, having pushed my plate with the fried sea dweller away, I laid my head on my hands and closed my eyes. But soon somebody came up to the table. Hey, you alright? I'm fine. I replied without changing my position. Just tired? Yeah, a little. That's bad. Slavia said it seriously. Of course. You remember that we were going for the hike after the dinner, don't you? Have you prepared everything? He's like, what? What? Where? I opened my eyes and lifted my hand up reluctantly. Lena was standing by Slavia. The hike. She was surprised. Didn't you know? No. It's like I was running around camp all day. I put my head down on the table and covered it with my hands. If only I could sink into the ground right away. The girls remained silent. I was left alone with my thoughts for some time, and that was fine by me. Maybe I could have sat that way until the end of dinner time, but the strong voice of Olga was heard from opposite end of the canteen. Guys, to celebrate the miraculous rescue of our friend and comrade Shurik, we baked this cake for you all. I lifted my head idly and looked towards the camp leader, but couldn't see anything beyond the pioneers' backs. Just a second, and nothing about me rescuing Shurik or gathering the ingredients for the cake, as if that's how it ought to be. Well, it would be wrong to expect anything else from our camp leader. What, you're expecting a special shout-out? God, he's so worthless. I hate this guy. He's like, I didn't get my special shout-out. I'm gonna pout about it. Like, what, you think it answered to the entire thing, and it's all thanks to this guy. Heroes welcome. Like, make sure you guys give him a high five and you, whatever, suck him off or whatever he's after. Like, it's freaking ridiculous what a whiner he is. All right, let's go, or we won't get our share. Slavia smiled. Let's go. Lena agreed. Yeah, sure. I got up reluctantly and tagged along behind the girls. He is such a whiner. As we approached the crowd of pioneers, Olga was just putting the cake in the center of the table. And now... The camp leader wasn't able to finish as Olyana rushed out from the Pioneer crowd and dived into the cake. Oh my god. Just see Olga's like, stop her! Just like drags her back like, no. She managed to nibble in a few times before she was pulled away. She was kicking and screaming. I stared blankly from outside of all this drama. Alyssa smiling, Lena picking up some cream with her finger, all the furious pioneers around. I felt completely out of place here. I thought that if I closed my eyes now and opened them again, here I am, back to the safety of my apartment in front of a computer. He's like, nope, still here. I blinked, but nothing changed. Only the noise and the confusion became sharper. Olyana, that's the limit. I just, well, in fact, behaving like this is a bit over the top, even for her. Shirk broke into the conversation, or is it a court-martial? Please, Olga, since the cake is celebrating my return, it's no big deal, he hesitated. It doesn't matter, the camp leader turned to Olyana. And you, today I'm gonna punish you to the fullest extent so you'll behave next time. Ah, whatever. She snorted and turned back. You won't be going on a hike with us tonight. As if I wanted to. I was more than willing to switch places with Olyana and skip the hike instead of her, but who knew? But who knew? If I had guessed beforehand, I'd have even be the first one to go berserk and smash the damn cake. What a baby. After a couple of minutes of confusion, the pioneers started to disperse. You have to get ready too. There'll be a lineup at the square in half an hour. I looked straight into the eyes of the camp leader, trying to express my attitude non-verbally, but it seems that I failed. What a baby. Don't be late. Olyana was sitting at the table when I approached her on my way to the exit. So why'd you do it? She looks very upset, but she had a right to do so, or be so, whatever. Be so, I think. I wanted to. Olyana replied abruptly. So you're happy now? Of course I am. And you, good luck with the hiking. She smiled mischievously, sprang up, and rushed out of the canteen. Well, a bit of luck wouldn't hurt. Walk and you shall reach was exactly that proverb that kept whirling in my head all the way down to the camp leader's cabin. Somehow I just couldn't manage to argue, to pretend that I'm sick, or to just skip it without a reason. Because you're, like, against every fiber of your being, you are growing a conscience a little bit. The events of this day taught me submissiveness. At least that's something. Although sometimes whatever was happening made no sense to me. As I walked in, I had a thought. Well, in fact, how should I get ready? Clothes? I only have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyway, I forgot to ask whether it's going to be an overnight hike or not. I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed the sweater that I had on me when I arrived in the camp. The night might be fairly chilly, and shuffled slowly off to the square. All the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga had designated. I settled down near the edge and waited patiently. Night was falling. If viewed from the outside, what a fairly comical picture we would make. A crowd of pioneers lined up out of sheer habit, like they were awaiting a silent command from the bronze Genda. And all this was happening in the scarlet rays of the sunset. And there he is, waving his hand and screaming, "Attack!" as roaring soldiers with red neckerchiefs. Alright, I don't know why that was so weird. Neckerchiefs charged into the battle against some ghostly enemy. But Olga showed up and started to talk instead of Genda. It seems everybody's here. Great. I was so tired today that I couldn't even think about anything, so I just ended up listening to the camp leader. Maybe a permanent state of exhaustion will be good for you. He'll actually, grow a brain. Now, today, we'll go hiking. It is essential for every pioneer to be able to come and rescue his comrade, to offer a helping hand in the hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn to do all these things together. A whisper that ran through the pioneer crowd suggested that most probably this truly epic expedition would end in a clearing in the forest, several hundred feet away from the square. Somehow I thought so too. We'll walk in pairs, so if you haven't chosen a partner for yourself yet, now's the time to do so. Pioneers quickly caught on to the idea and started to match in pairs. It looked like I was the only one without a partner. Slavia was enthusiastically discussing something with Olga, Lena was with Miku, Electronic was of course with Shurik. Well, it might not be a bad idea to go alone after all. Semyon, the voice out of the camp leader, pulled me out of my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly. I see that you haven't found a partner. Seems like it. Then you'll join Xenia. She's alone too. I was struck with that special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. So it appears that I'm left with the prickly librarian that I wouldn't risk spending a couple of hours with, even if I was paid for it. Although we both seem to be in the same boat now. Oh dear, why Xenia? Why couldn't it have been Olga? Oops, sorry. Oh, actually, I guess we could save it while we're here. I slowly approached Xenia. Well, I guess we'll be going together. She looked up at me. Don't you even think that I'm glad, said Xenia seriously. Why on earth should you feel glad? I asked naively. Never mind. It would be much better if you just shut up. Ah, it couldn't get any better than this. She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. I still haven't seen any special reason to walk in pairs. I mean, buddy system, that's like Pioneer Boy Scout-esque 101. Anyway, we were walking on the well-trodden forest trails, and it would be quite difficult to get lost here even if I wanted to. Moreover, while we're already been hiking for half an hour, we weren't rushing into the depths of the forest, trying to face all of the dangers that could test our courage and harden our pioneer spirits, but instead we're just walking around in circles. However, if we take into account that Olga was our chief, this hike could be compared to a hobbit's march from the Shire to Mordor. Just as Xenia insisted, I was following her at a distance in silence. The librarian seemed to be perfectly okay with it. Hey, don't you know when we reach our destination? Our what? Ahem. He's like, or maybe he's like, ahem. The place where we'll settle down and set up camp? The whole point of this hike isn't to set up camp, but the hike itself. You don't get it. Yeah, it seemed that I didn't understand a thing about hiking. I guess you're right, but still, I don't know. She replied sharply and quickened her pace. Man, she is just really not nice. I caught up with her and asked, Listen, why are you always so... I was about to say mean, but stopped short. I haven't done anything bad to you, and I'm not going to. She glared at me in surprise. Always so what? Well, unsociable, kind of. Or is it something about me? Or unsociable, kind of. Or is it something about me? Oh, cut that stupidity out already. As you wish. I decided not to start a conversation with her for the rest of the hike. At first she seemed like innocently surprised, and then she got even meaner. So man, she is not nice. I don't know who peed in her Wheaties, as my dad says, but she's not happy. At last, Olga decided to end this something toil. I don't even know what that word is. It's time to halt. The place chosen turned out to be a quite large glade with a few tree trunks laid in a half circle to make an improvised arbor, with the remains of a campfire in the middle. Obviously, such hikes are a tradition of the camp. I was sent to gather firewood together with the other boys. It didn't take long before there were a lot of branches and logs of various sizes lying around. Eventually, Olga lit the fire using some old newspapers. I was eager to know what was written there, but didn't discern anything other than Soviet symbols. Pioneers took their places on the fallen log benches and started to talk about things. It seemed that the final goal of this event had been achieved. The only things missing were a pot of fish soup, aluminum cups of vodka, and a guitar. But I wouldn't be surprised if all of these would appear somehow. What are you thinking about? Slavy sat next to me. No, nothing special. Just enjoying the hike. I answered sarcastically. You don't look too happy. He's never happy. Well, I'm not about to jump for joy. Sorry about that. Okay, I won't disturb you. She sat with me for a while, but after realizing that I wasn't in the mood for talking, she left me to enjoy my introspection all alone. What a waste of an opportunity to shoot her down. And be like, yep, that's better. Let's just sit here and pout. That's way better than talking with the beautiful, lovely Slavia for a while. Of course, that's way better. And all I wished for was to lie down in bed and fall asleep as soon as possible, but I was being surrounded by smoke and the useless chatter of pioneers around me instead. They were cheering and laughing and, in general, enjoying this warm summer evening. In the far side of the glade, I noticed that Lena was arguing with Alyssa intensely, and Lena seemed like opposites. Intensely and Lena seemed like complete opposites to me. Slavia had left to go somewhere after our conversation, it seems. Electronic and Shurik were trying furiously to prove something to Olga. Looks like I'm the only one who doesn't belong here. Of course you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna force this guy to not be such a schmuck for a change, and we're gonna go see if we can help Lena. But on the other hand, why should I care? All I was doing was just watching the fire. Exactly. There is a saying that claims that one could watch it forever as well as running water. But there was some third thing here. What was that? What was that? One could watch three things forever: burning fire, the running water, and how other people work. The camp leader pulled me out of my daydreaming. Semyon, don't you think that it's too early to relax? But what else would I need to do? I honestly couldn't get what Olga wanted from me. I don't know. She stopped for a moment. But if there is something to be done, then do it without hesitation. She smiled ambiguously and went back to the fire to throw a few branches on. After those words, I'm completely sure that she treats me like a personal slave. What a baby. Or at least I am like a free labor force, which is strictly speaking the same thing. I sighed and put my head down on my hands, hoping my torments would be over for today. Someone patted me on the shoulder. I looked up and saw Shurik and Electronic. Pause. Didn't we went to go see what they were arguing about? We're going to reload because otherwise we miss nothing. Try to find out what Alyssa and Elena are arguing about. But on the other hand, why should I care? All I was doing was just daydreaming. Alright, whatever. I was like, did I miss something? Or weren't we going to stand up and go figure out what they were arguing about? And like, but we're still sitting here anyway? So well then what was the point of that choice then? Anyway, I looked up and saw Shirk and Electronic, who sat next to me. What do you want? I asked tiredly. Don't be sad. Is there anything better to do? Look, we've been discussing the possibilities for the advancement of the Cybernetics Club with Olga. And there is a problem. We need more guys. If you could, he hesitated. Advancement and those guys are compatible with each other. I said nothing and started to look over the pioneers around me instead. Well, I don't have time. Can't you see that I'm always busy with the camp leader's errands? Yeah, I guess you're right. It's kind of embarrassing how it went today with Olyana. How it all went today. I looked at him with surprise. It seems that Shirk blames himself for that cake incident. Well, he certainly shouldn't. It's certainly not his fault. Yeah, it is. All the pioneers seem to be here, but I couldn't spot Slavia anywhere. I think she's angry with me. Who? I asked absently. Olyana. Maybe I should apologize? No, it's not your fault. We sat silently for a while, and then I stood up and said, my legs are numb. I better take a walk. They made no reply. I made a few circles around our improvised camp, noticing the close looks of the camp leader following me. Looks like looks like Olga couldn't wait to come up with some kind of new task for me. He is such a whiner. I haven't found Slavia anywhere. Maybe I should go and try to find her. On the other hand, I felt sorry for Olyana every time I recalled her unpleasant face. Why? She 100% brings this crap on herself. Maybe this hike isn't the most entertaining thing ever, but sitting here all alone isn't any better. But at the same time, I didn't want to go anywhere. Okay, well, obviously we're not going to Olyana. We're gonna go try and find Slavia, obviously. But let's go ahead and give it a save, because I don't feel like that choice means anything, so let's just save over it. Alright, let's see if we can find Slavia. I was absolutely sure that Slavia was right, so I decided to stay. I guess that's enough for me for today. I sat in my previous place and waited for the end of the hike patiently, almost physically able to feel the looks of the camp leader aimed at me. At last, she stood up and declared. See, again, we had a choice, I clicked on it, and he didn't do anything. You're like, so what was the point of these choices? Don't give me these choices if it doesn't mean anything. He's still gonna sit here and whine about it, even if I tell him to go find Slavia or whatever. Nothing matters. And now let's play cities. I had nothing against the game itself, but it was obvious that the hike will take longer because of it. Pioneers sat around the fire. I noticed Lena and Alyssa, who took their places on a trunk opposite me. It seems that everything is alright, and just a few minutes ago, I thought the opposite while looking at their quarrel. But anything is possible. I'd really like to know what they were talking about, but it's impossible now, and I can feel tiredness growing in me more and more. But I clicked on that one, and he didn't listen. So it's like, so you didn't really want to know because you didn't do it. My mind was completely blank. To be precise, my head was so heavy that there was no place in it for ideas to unfold. While in better times, my brain appeared to be a wide highway with millions of thoughts running by, chasing one another and causing major crashes. Now it was more like a footpath lost in the woods, which is used rarely and only in exceptional cases. Slavia didn't come back. Maybe she had something to do? But once again, there's no way to find out now. See, okay, again, like, backtracking really quick. Because we saved it, so we're not missing anything. Try to find Slavia, go to Olyana, remain seated. Find Slavia. I was absolutely sure Slavia was right, so I decided to stay. Okay? Let's just out of curiosity. Does anything change if I do anything different? Let's just go to Olyana. But on the other hand, why should I care about that witch? I guess that's enough for me for today. Okay. Now, I'm noticing a trend, alright? Nothing matters. At least I'm going to click on Slavia so I feel better. But yeah, nothing makes a difference. He ignores you anyway, so it is what it is. Okay, I noticed that and Alyssa took their places, seemed everything's alright. I would have liked to have known, but I ignored the player, whatever. My mind was completely blank, be precise. Okay, to be precise, my head was so heavy. Oh, there we go. Okay, chasing one another and causing major crashes. Now it was more like a footpath lost in the woods, which is used rarely and only in exceptional cases. Slavia didn't come back. Maybe she had something better to do? But once again, there's no way to find out now. Not that you listened, I told you to go find her. Okay, let's start. Moscow. Pioneer started to name cities. Finally, it was my turn. I tried to listen closely to catch the first letter of the city I'll have to use. Holy freaking crap. Archangelisk. I have no idea. Los Angeles. We played several rounds. Each new city name made it harder to remember everything that was mentioned before. My attention was dissipating, and I was already lost in all these capitals, megalopolises, villages, and urban settlements. Semyon, it's your turn. Olga brought me back to reality. Excuse me, what was the last one? You're daydreaming again. It was Sevastopol. Okay, then I'll say London. Already used. Well then, she got me thinking. It got me thinking. There are tons of cities in the world starting with L, but it was hard to remember even one of them now. Ha! Los Angeles! I was ready. Liverpool? Already there. Los Angeles? Ah, finally. Ah, he actually did say Los Angeles. Aha, finally. Nailed it. She gave me a scornful look, but the game went on. I could hardly bear to think of any other city starting with L, but fortunately it was the last round. Okay, that's enough for today. It's already late, so time to head back. I sighed with relief. On our way back, we walked as we liked without joining in pairs. Night descended upon a camp. A perfectly regular and normal night. It was one of those nights when dark skies, stars, and even a crescent moon can't cause any special feelings, and the chirping of crickets and the songs of the nightbirds seem more like routine work noises than nocturnal chorus. I feel like that's only to your dystopian look on the world because you're such an idiot. Because you're frickin' depressing, bro. In a few minutes, all the pioneers were lining up in the square. It was quite late already, and the fatigue took its toll on our lineup. Our lineup wasn't perfectly aligned. It looks to me more like a line of Vikings after a successful battle, where the warriors are happy and smiling, anticipating their return to their families rather than thinking about maintaining correct formation. But someone else could possibly see a completely defeated troop or a bunch of survivors who have to march to their homeland with the last of their strength. What are these complex analogies he comes up with? If he spent more time, like, trying to fix his own character and a little less time coming up with complicated analogies for things around him, maybe he would be better off. Thanks, everyone. And now go to sleep. It's late already. Pioneers quickly each ran their own ways, and I was left with the camp leader. And we should go too. We went in complete silence to Olga's cabin. Okay, let's sleep. She said, turning off the light. I was tossing and turning for quite a while, recalling all the events of the day. On the one hand, I was overcome with fatigue. On the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd forgotten something, done something wrong, said something wrong. And this feeling of incompleteness was tormenting me. Well, I know, at least two of my choices for the day didn't even matter. It was about 2 a.m. All bad things would end sooner or later, or at least would take a break. I'd say, just go to bed, you big baby. I fell asleep. Permanently, if we're lucky. Probably not, though. Day 6. I wonder if there's going to be 7 days. I don't know that. It's a complete guess. I'm just wondering. I don't know what time it was when Olga woke me up, but even before opening my eyes, I felt the imminence of death. My whole body ached. I felt dizzy. My mind was clouded by haze. Semyon, wake up immediately or you'll miss breakfast and, more importantly, the lineup. Looks like the camp leader intends to exploit me to the fullest today, the same as any other day. I garbled something, covered my head with a blanket, and turned to the wall. In the end, Olga's anger will never go beyond words. At least I really wanted to believe so then. Stand up right now, or what? I was going to say triumphantly, but kept silent. Not because of fear, just because I felt too lazy to open my mouth. What could she do to me? Lecture me at the lineup, hang my photo on the wall of shame, or use me for inhuman alien experiments? Well, I'm ready for that too. Just let me sleep a couple of hours. Okay, but if you miss the lineup, the door slammed behind the camp leader, and the sleep which had been about to fade claimed my mind again. Yep, he's a bad person. Continuing to be a bad person. He was already worthless. I woke up dazzled by sunlight. It was 1 p.m. according to my cell phone, which was squeezing the last drops of charge out of its battery. Strangely enough, my body didn't ache. My head felt clear, and all in all, it was a good beginning to the day. After I had my routine 25 hours of sleep. After waving my arms, pretending to do early exercises, I sprang out of the cabin and headed to the washstands. Yeah, I slept through breakfast and will be served lunch soon, so I shouldn't worry that I'll have to stay hungry like I did yesterday. Along the way, I met a pioneer whose face somehow looked strangely familiar. But I was going so fast I couldn't really see him, and when I turned around, he was already gone around the corner. That kind of looked like you, like our character, like Semyon. That was kind of weird. There was nobody near the washstands. You think we've teleported into someone else's body? Anyway, everyone is probably busy with Olga's tasks and God knows what else. I quickly brushed my teeth, washed my face, and was already going to leave when suddenly I heard the sound of water flowing from the opposite tap. It's him again, mysterious Shadow Man. A pioneer leaning against a washstand over there. I couldn't see his face, but judging by his figure, he looked like the one I saw a couple minutes ago. How you doing? The sun's so bright today. I looked up into the sky, shielding my eyes with my palm. Yeah, nothing special. I wasn't easy to get a better look at the pioneer given the way he stood. The bright sunlight that reflected from the water and shiny metal surfaces of the washstands heavily obscured his face, and I wasn't able to distinguish any single feature. The camp leader's angry today, so angry. I can guess why. His voice sounded painfully familiar too. Well, she's always like that. Well, you'd bet you know better, yeah. I tried to remember if I had ever heard this voice or seen this pioneer before. Well, see ya. He turned the water off and quickly marched towards the forest path. For a second I thought of following him, stopping him, but I quickly fought it off as I decided that it's not worth spoiling such a great morning with suspicions and burdensome speculations. Nature was glowing with the bright light of life. Lush treetops were rhythmically swaying in the wind, whispering to each other. The breeze gently stroked the high emerald grass. Birds were cooing in the shade, especially escaping the midday heat. The woods and the fields stretching beneath the horizon were dissolving in warm sunlight. I don't know which month it is now, but it looks like midsummer. I distinctly remember the summer vacations of my childhood and youth, times of fun, leisure, and carefree joy. Childhood games, how many there were. I wouldn't say no to playing war games or hide and seek now, or swinging on a bungee, or maybe building a sandcastle and inhabiting it with toy soldiers ready to defend their master to the last drop of their plastic blood. Yeah, you know, all he needed was like 3 days of sleep, and then he's a completely different person, I guess. I went to the square and sat on a bench waiting for lunch. It looked like there wasn't much time left before it. From time to time, pioneers passed by me, sometimes alone, sometimes in pairs or groups of 3. But always someone I didn't know. Alyssa, Olyana, Lena, or Slavia were nowhere to be seen. Thoughts about the meaningless existence were circling in my brain, but this didn't worry me on such a beautiful day. Just think about it. Who could think of grieving for his life lived in vain or lost early while basking in the rays of such a friendly sun? I like how suddenly he's just the most positive person on earth. Like, what happened? I mean, so what? He rested, so now he's like completely different? Certainly not me. I looked upon Genda. He was meditating as always. Now he definitely never gets any unnecessary doubts. I remembered my first hours in the camp and the day before. The anguish, the anxiety, and the fear. All that seems so far away now, although so little time has passed. Will I get out of here or not? It didn't concern me as much as before. Maybe I'm already dead. This is the last drop. Please get me off the train. Or last stop. Please get me off the train. What are you thinking about? I looked up and saw the pioneer that I'd seen before. I couldn't see his face again as the sun was shining in my eyes. You know, life. It seemed like he would sit down next to me, but the pioneer stayed in the same place, only half turned, which completely killed any hope of seeing his face. Listen, have we met earlier? I don't think I remember you. Well, let's say that you know who I am, but I don't. I laughed sincerely. Here, you don't. He stopped short. I see. Honestly, it's not like I didn't want to talk. I just didn't know what to talk about. And my soul was so calm that this didn't bother me. Is he dead? Like, we haven't seen anyone we recognize. This guy is everywhere, and suddenly Semyon is a completely different person. I'm wondering if he's dreaming or something, because this is weird. Your first time here? He asked a question, but his tone implied he was only expecting a confirmation. Yeah, and you? Me? He paused for a few seconds. Nah, it's not my first time here. One might say that I visited this camp every year since my early childhood. Such an answer got me interested. Well, and what was it like before? It's always the same. Olga being the camp leader, all the pioneers around, all the same lineups in the morning, and these wicked accidents. For a moment, I thought that it was me speaking, not him. Interesting. I'm telling you, I'm wondering if he's dreaming or something. It's just that with every new, he hesitated, year, more and more interesting things happen, and one gets to understand better what's going on. What are you talking about? This conversation positively triggered my curiosity. It's a pity that I can't distinguish the face of this pioneer at all. Well, every session of the pioneer camp reminds me of the previous one, he said calmly. Probably. This is my first. It shows. The pioneer grinned. But it looks like it won't be the last. Well, it's fun here and all, but you know how they say, there's no place like home. But you still have to get back there. Now I was absolutely sure that this guy was hiding something from me. To be precise, he stood out too much from this camp's usual ordinariness and was too different from the local inhabitants. I'm telling you, I think it's you somehow. I think it's Semyon, and I think somehow we're like also Semyon, or like the one happy corner of Semyon's mind. But I think we're dreaming or something. We haven't seen people we recognize, and this guy really feels like Semyon to me. So something really weird's happening. Plus, we can never see his face, something we haven't seen of Semyon's as well. To be precise, he said, we already read that. What do you mean? You think I'm stuck here forever or something? I said, enunciating every word. The pioneer had no time to answer as the lunch bell sounded. I turned my head towards the loudspeaker, and by the time I looked back, the guy was already gone. Thousands of theories and speculations instantly appeared in my mind, but I stopped myself, remembering all the apparent normality of the camp. After all, nothing supernatural's happened in these 5 days. Moreover, everything here seemed too natural, sometimes even boring. Maybe this pioneer didn't mean anything by that, and I just misunderstood him? Interesting. That was bizarre. Thinking that, I went to the canteen intending to feast. Sometimes it seemed to me that lunch here is akin to the crowds around the soup kitchens during a famine. Pioneers were running around, pushing each other, trying to crawl through for the first meal and take the most comfortable table. I was calmly standing and patiently waiting for the cook to get me my assigned food rations. For lunch today, we had Okroshka is a traditional Russian cold soup that sounds disgusting, which I didn't really like, and cutlets with potatoes. I sat in a corner and mentally rejoiced that I will be able to eat in peace. My table was the farthest from the kitchen. I could reasonably hope that the pioneers who were looking for a free place wouldn't reach it, or would reach it last. However, when I moved on the main course, Slavia, Shurk, and Electronic appeared from the crowd. Oh, thank the Lord, they exist, especially Slavia. You're here. I'm so happy to see people I recognize. Can we? I had nothing against their company. Of course. Lunch was going surprisingly calmly. Even Electronic wasn't jabbering as he usually does. I finally finished the meal, sprawling in my chair and satisfied, clicked my tongue. Listen, do you know this pioneer? I saw him today. You know, he's so... I suddenly realized that I didn't really know how to describe him. Well, about my height, same constitution. Hard to say from such a description. Slavia smiled. Well, we have half a camp of such guys, if it comes to that. All in all, they were right. Why are you asking? It's just that I met him today, and it seemed like I haven't seen him here before. Look at the canteen. I don't think he'll miss lunch. Why didn't I think of that? That's it. Okay, guys, enjoy your meal. I got up and started to slowly walk along the rows of tables. Lena and Xenia are sitting over there. I gave them a friendly smile. Alyssa and Ilyana are laughing and arguing about something. Olga surrounded by pioneers. Good thing she didn't notice me. There was hardly any free seats, but the guy from the morning is nowhere to be seen. The situation is getting more and more interesting. Looks like I won't find him here. Maybe he already had lunch? I headed to the exit. It was so hot outside that it seemed like you would instantly melt after coming out of the shade. I suddenly felt like sleeping. I yawned and headed to the camp leader's cabin in order to follow the domestic interpretation of the Archimedes principle. I don't know what any of that means, but I can tell you, didn't you just sleep for like 12 hours? And you're going back for more sleep? Even I mean, I'm a fan of sleep, but even I don't sleep that much. In the end, Olga is unlikely to return anytime soon, at least I think so, and I'll definitely have a couple of hours to rest. Anyways, I don't really expect any other options to arise, especially in this heat. The heavenly coolness in the cabin became my salvation. I took my clothes off and jumped into bed. Crickets were lazily chirping outside, the wind was shaking the curtains on the window, and I sank into a dream. I can't believe he's sleeping again. More confirmation something weird is happening. Like, suddenly he's like sleeping again, and like it's noon, and what's happening? Knocking on the door woke me up. The knocks were soft but insistent. I reluctantly got up and went to open it. Strangely, there was nobody on the doorstep. I rubbed my eyes and stepped out to look around. All the same, no one around. A dream, maybe? It was already 4 o'clock. I felt jaded. I probably shouldn't have slept in the afternoon. After all, I knew what was going to happen. Now he'd be up all night because he slept in the afternoon. I put on my boots, left the cabin, and locked the door. But where shall I go? All in all, there's not much time till dinner. A sudden thought came to me that it would be nice to refresh myself, so I went towards the beach. The sun had passed the midday mark a while ago. It gets dark early here in the south. I squinted and looked up at the flaming disc. Who was that just now? I flinched. It's him! The same mysterious guy was standing in front of me. And once again, his face was hard to see due to the bright light. For a moment, the sun blinded me so that I could not see anything besides the faint contours of objects. Are you stalking me? Nope, just passing by, he answered calmly. Then you should know better. So you haven't seen anyone, correct? What's happening? I rubbed my eyes, but it didn't help. Why didn't I see you at lunch? I asked bluntly. I wasn't hungry, he laughed. I blinked a few times and my vision came back, but the pioneer had miraculously disappeared once again. What the hell is going on here? Now I was absolutely sure that this was something strange about that guy. He must be directly related to everything happening around here. I'll have to find out. But for starters, it's good to confirm that I'm not mistaken and that he is not just a local pioneer. It was quite crowded at the beach. It looked like everyone from the camp was here. Well, no wonder, it's so hot outside. Olga was standing just a bit further apart from everyone, keeping an eye on her army of pioneers. And as soon as I thought that coming here might not have been the best idea, she noticed me. I'm so happy to see you, even if you're pissed at me. You're still hot, and I love you. Hey, Semyon, you weren't at the lineup, and in general, you're just lounging around all day. I didn't know how to answer. I mean, that's true. That's exactly what happened. And now you're just planning on becoming and just how are you planning on to become a proper pioneer? She continued more softly. Olga, in the camp, is there a pioneer who looks a lot like me? She looked surprised. Maybe, I don't know. Why do you ask? Just curious. Well, we have a lot of boys here. All right, never mind. Someone's yell came from the riverside, and Olga rushed in his direction. Well, it looks like I'll be spared a lecture. I lowered myself onto the sand and stared at the pioneers playing in the water. After a few minutes of sitting here, Ilyana approached me. Why so sad? I'm not sad. Well, then why are you sitting here all alone? Just thinking. About what? I decided to spare her my story about the mysterious pioneer. Well, imagine that you're chatting with a weird person, and you have to figure out what exactly is so weird about them. Simple, I would just ask him. She laughed. Too simple. But he won't answer. How do you know? Have you tried asking? No, but it's obvious. Olyana didn't answer. She just sat next to me and let out a tired sigh. I'm all swimmed out. And what if they know something but won't tell you? Make them. But how? For a bit longer, we sat together talking about random things, and then I got up, said goodbye, and went away. That was weirdly civil. I liked that. He was civil. I can't believe it. It's time to find the mysterious stranger and get all the answers. The first place to visit was the bus stop. After all, this is where it all began. The road was empty as always. Only small dust tornadoes were occasionally visible on it. Yes, so the little dust tornadoes, I don't know if wherever you guys live, if you've seen any of those, but in New Mexico, we call them dust devils. That's the truth. We call them dust devils, and in New Mexico, they can get pretty stinking big and dusty, I guess? Anyway, they're not anyway dangerous. They're just, they're very popular in New Mexico. Lots of sand, as you might imagine. It's like, freaking Tatooine down here. Anyway, I was ready to turn around and go back to the camp, but then I heard someone whisper, "Don't trust him." What the? Someone was hiding behind the monument. A pioneer was sitting there with his back to me, and once again, his voice seemed strangely familiar. Who are you? I took a few steps towards him. Stop, don't come any closer. For some reason, I froze in my tracks. From somewhere deep inside, an assurance came to me, and I understood that I shouldn't argue with him. All right, I'll stay here. Have you seen him? Talked to him? He asked nervously. Who are you even talking about? He was dressed in a pioneer uniform. You know who. And I definitely did know. He was talking about the weird pioneer I saw earlier. Yeah? I answered after a few moments of silence. What did he tell you? The pioneer asked in a pleading tone. Nothing, really. Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do? Threaten you? No, nothing like that. Of course, he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone, or more likely, he is alone, but you may have met many pioneers here who look like him. And what about you? Who are you? Who were you hiding from? You'll understand. In time. Just remember, the most important thing is to find the exit. All of a sudden, a strong gust of wind came through, ripping leaves from the trees and throwing an old paper bag into my face. Shielding myself, I averted my eyes. When I looked back at the monument, the pioneer was already gone. What is happening? At that moment, I was overwhelmed by fear. Real, almost tangible fear. I remember being scared during my first hours at the camp, but back then, everything around me seemed kind and friendly. Now the camp revealed its fangs, getting ready to eat me. And ahead, the unknown. My body was covered in goosebumps, my throat was dry, and my hands were shaking. I tried to ignore it all and headed back to camp. It was already dinner time, but I had no desire to go to the canteen. After meeting the second mysterious pioneer, just thinking about the locals made me, if not afraid, then at least creeped out. I don't know even who or what they all are, and even though nothing had happened yet, it does not mean that I can trust them. I feel like there's a few of them you can trust. I stopped in front of the clubhouse and then realized that this is not the best spot to be at. I could run into someone, which was not something I wanted to do at the moment. Almost running, I headed towards the forest and walked a few meters along the path before finally stopping. On one side, the mysterious pioneer. Well, two of them to be precise. On the other, all the other inhabitants of this camp who seemed absolutely normal. Either way, my decision will stand back and let everything resolve itself was under some serious pressure. At this point, it was clear to me. I had to do something on my own. But what exactly? Everyone is probably having a dinner, so I have a good chance to make it to Olga's place without being noticed. I decided to first take my clothes that I wore when I arrived here along with my cell phone. I won't be able to come up with a solid plan right off the bat, so for the time being, I may as well hide in the forest. Yeah, this is a plan, I guess? I headed up to the steps and entered the building. My clothes were right where I'd left them, and my phone was where it was supposed to be, under my pillow. I quickly grabbed it and was ready to stuff it in my pocket when then I noticed something on the screen. The message window was open. The text read, "You're wrong, Semyon. You are so wrong." It felt like my soul had left my body. I froze on the spot. I was shaking and my blood was pumping so hard it felt like my skull was going to burst open from the pressure. It took at least a full minute for me to come back to my senses. Olga could have typed this message, or one of the pioneers. It's easy to figure out how to do it, even if they're not familiar with this technology. But no one besides me should know where I keep the phone. The event was the straw that broke the camel's back. I rushed out of the house, determined never to come back here. This is a stupid plan. Like, let's run into the forest. I'll be safer there. This is a retarded plan. Night fell on the campgrounds. I had been sitting in the woods for a few hours, trembling at every noise. The spot that I chose was far away from the path, so it would be hard to find me. I was keeping a few plans in my head for the time being. To try and run, to kill every single person in the camp. Yeah, this is a plan? However, on the other hand, one thought chased me, and I realized that I shouldn't behave like this because of some strange pioneer, or even because of that message on the phone. All of this was reinforcing the thought that everything happened here was far from normal. However, there was no proof that anyone in the camp had anything to do with it. Exactly! Exactly! Finally, a sane, rational thought. That is the most truest statement I have read in this game so far. All of this was reinforcing the thought that everything happening here was far from normal. That's probably true, especially recently. However, there was no proof that anyone in the camp had anything to do with it. That is the truest statement. Everyone, take a screenshot. Let's give it a save. Let's remember this moment for time and all eternity. That was the truest statement you've ever read in your life. I'm so proud of him if he actually acts on this. I could have stayed here until morning, lost in my own thoughts, but I heard footsteps coming from somewhere nearby. Oh, it's him! So you decided to escape after all. Sorry, I'm reading a lot. My throat gets tired, so I have water nearby. I'm trying to make sure to drink more. So, you decided to escape after all. I turned around but couldn't see the pioneer's face in the dark. Of course he could find you. This dude has been apparating around you all day. Nevertheless, I was pretty sure that it was him. I wasn't afraid then. More precisely, I was so physically exhausted that I was prepared for any possible course of events and somehow managed to reason appropriately and to maintain the conversation. I wouldn't call this an escape, I answered slowly, stretching every word. Huh? Then what is it? A tactical retreat. Brilliant. He burst into laughter. Listen, why don't you tell me what's going on, who you are, and what you want from me? What did that guy tell you at the gate? It seemed that he didn't even hear my question. He told me not to trust you. I lied. But on the other hand, I thought that it was what he meant. Well, that's always the way for him, running away, hiding. I could hear irritation in his voice. I'm not sure what kind of circus you're running here, but I am not going to be a part of it. Oh, why not? You're the star after all. I couldn't see his face, but I bet he was smiling. Explain my part to me then. You know, I was like you in the beginning. The first time everything went peacefully. Then I escaped. I tried to understand what was going on, got mad, and even tortured them to get the truth. Good lord. He laughed crazily. I shivered. But it was pointless, continued the pioneer after calming down a bit. Pointless. And then I began to notice the lapses. At first, I just heard their voices from a distance and sometimes in my head. Then vague silhouettes appeared. Then they slowly took on physical form, and finally they stepped into my world. I could touch them, introduce them to other pioneers, and they were all different. Do you get it? Different. He started shouting, and it reoccurred again and again. You can get used to the loops, but then I learned how to get into their worlds by myself, to interact with the others. But it turned out that I'm not alone. There are lots of us. Today you saw at least one more. He fell silent. I didn't know what question to ask and didn't want to interrupt his story, so I simply waited. After a minute, he continued. It's not that simple, of course, but it's not always possible, only under certain circumstances, when you feel strong emotions, for example. I instantly remembered how I saw him the first time, that time when I didn't feel any emotion at all, including the moments when you feel happy, as if he was reading my thoughts. I see. So you're trying to say that there are several parallel worlds, including the same camp with its inhabitants, where I am replaced by you and that guy I met at the bus stop? Yeah, something like that. Oh, okay. All right. I'm understanding. So apparently there's parallel camps, and there's always a quote-unquote Semyon in every one of them. There's a guy that appears there, doesn't belong there, and some of them, like this guy, have figured out how to go between the different parallel camps, is kind of what I'm understanding here. His answer didn't surprise me at all. In the end, it's clear that whatever happens here is beyond the limits of human understanding, and this theory didn't even seem all that unusual. I agree, that actually makes a lot of sense. But you said that everything reoccurs. Yeah, it reoccurs. And what will happen afterwards? You'll start from the very beginning. You'll wake up on the bus, come to the camp, you'll meet Olga, the girls, electronic. But if it happens to you, then why should it happen to me as well? It happens to everyone. Once again, he laughed hysterically. And how many loops have you experienced so far? I stopped counting them already. At first, I tried to remember them, though. Maybe a few hundred? No wonder. It was very clear to me that this guy was suffering from a progressing mental dysfunction. Obviously. It's like Groundhog's Day, but forever. But you searched for a way out, didn't you? He didn't answer. That's what that guy at the bus stop was talking about. Because he understands nothing, damn it, he shouted. Because he's just like you, constantly running away, hiding. What would you suggest then? If I had any suggestions, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. Alright, but you were trying, weren't you? Are you trying to understand what I know since I've been around for a long time? He asked cheerfully. Well, that's evident. Yeah, I did try to run away from here. There, he waved towards the forest, is nothing there. Nothing but trees. When I had been walking there for several days and finally passed out, I found myself on the bus again. Same for walking down along the road. It's endless. Talking to someone about this is pointless. You probably already understood that by yourself. I did, I interjected. Even if you try to explain your situation directly, at best you'd just be considered an idiot. What if you tried to not leave the bus? It's pointless. Sooner or later, you'll be found. I even tried to spend the entire time there. In the end, I fell asleep and everything started from the beginning. And what if you start it by yourself and leave? No keys. And I don't have any carjacking skills. A cursed cycle. Exactly. A long silence fell. Finally, I asked, and what about the people around here? Did they raise any absolutely unreasonable suspicions? Suspicions? Laughter again. The only thing that is suspicious about them is that no matter how much you tell them, they stare at you with their eyes out on stalks. The people, I feared them at first too. Then I used them for different experiments. And now I don't even consider them humans. They're all dolls, puppets. You can easily predict any reaction, any word or action. So they aren't worth fearing, are they? The one worth fearing is yourself, he said softly. Do you know how funny it is when human bones crack as they slowly break from distension? Oh, good God. Looks like he has finally lost his marbles. Listen, I understand everything, but the other one thinks that's a bit much too. But it doesn't matter. Nobody but you is real here. The pioneer suddenly fell silent. Well, no, I don't agree with you. You're probably thinking, why I didn't check this ball by myself, aren't you? Why didn't I try to reach the nearest village or town? Yeah, I did have such thoughts. Why wasn't I suspicious? Why was I doing different stuff instead of searching for answers? Well, yeah. Forget about it. That's normal. We all behave like this for the first time here. But how many others have you seen so far? Not that many. The pioneer was lost in thought. About 10 people maybe, but I'm not sure there's many more of them. And is everyone like this? In fact, yes. Only the details are different, but the main thing is invariable. There's no way out of here. And, by the way, you're just like the majority of them. The only thing that differs is that you have heard everything from me instead of experiencing it for yourself. I don't know if I should thank you for that. I think you absolutely should. This is great information. Well, and what now? Nothing, he said shortly. I closed my eyes and lost myself in thought. That was a critical mistake. When I opened my eyes, I didn't see anybody, just like the previous times. So it's clear what's going on now. But in fact, how could everything he said guide me to an answer? Yeah, I'm not alone. Yes, everything reoccurs, but what's the reason for all this? And what is more important? Where's the way out? The only useful thing that I extracted from this conversation was that the local inhabitants were not worth fearing. Well, that's progress by itself, and that was quite significant to me now. To me for now, since it was much better to sleep in a warm cabin instead of the forest. I sighed, took my things, and headed towards the camp. As I was walking, the conversation with my fellow sufferer popped up in my mind every now and then. Why did I not ask him about the message on my phone and some other stuff? They were hints after all. Maybe if I found some details out, I could have drawn some conclusions. However, it didn't seem like our meeting would be the last one. That was crazy. That was a great information. The lights were on in Olga's cabin. I opened the door gently and went in. Speak of the devil, here you are, the camp leader said angrily. Olga, I am so tired now. Let's put off the lecture. Tired from what, I wonder? From everything, I snapped rudely. The camp leader looked at me with surprise. I fell into bed without undressing. Semyon, a role model pioneer shouldn't behave like that. And how should he behave then? Well, not like that. The camp leader stumbled for a moment as if struggling to pick the right words. He should respect his seniors. I respect you immensely, for sure. Semyon, the sarcasm in my voice didn't go unnoticed. And now I'd like to sleep. Wait, by the way, how far is the nearest town? Where does the bus arrive? How can I even get out of here? I asked in a surprisingly calm voice. There was no answer, and there shouldn't have been any. I said all this in order to get rid of her. Why are you silent? I'm tired. Let's talk about that tomorrow. The camp leader got up and turned off the light. Yeah, it's just like that guy said. Why did I speak to him so calmly and properly, I wonder? I should have been shivering from horror. That pioneer didn't have much credibility, but I had a feeling that he's unable to harm me. As soon as I thought that it would be a good idea to ask something else, fatigue overtook me and I passed out. That was crazy. It was also crazy how mean you are to Olga for no reason. It's not her fault. Don't be such a dick. Anyway, day 7. Wow, that was crazy. That was crazy. I can't believe it. That was insane. Alright, the bright sunlight was striking my eyes even through my eyelids. My eyes. Hopefully we can make it up to Olga for being such a jerk today. I stretched out lazily and quickly got myself out of bed. It was 2 p.m. Wow. Looks like yesterday really finished me off, and my body required much more time to recover than usual. I had a stroll around the room thinking of what I should do today. Obviously, my life in the camp would never be the same again after hearing everything that I had heard from the strange pioneer. And if everything just was as he said, I have plenty of time ahead. I grabbed my hygiene kit and went outside. I managed to take only a couple of steps as somebody ran into my back. I turned around and saw Alyssa. Oh, hey, be careful, she said indifferently and ran on her way. She held some kind of bag in her hands. Oh, whatever. Yet another ordinary day in this crazy place. I finished brushing my teeth and spent an eternity washing my face with ice-cold water to bring myself to my senses and refresh my head at least a bit. Hang on, drink break. Okay, I felt a bit better after that. Suddenly, hope struck me from nowhere. It wasn't a hope that I'd likely to leave this place safely. Rather, I just didn't want to behave that everything is as bad as that guy told me. I agree. Good morning. I heard a faint voice coming from the woods. Someone stood behind a tree. Morning. Are you ready? Ready for what? I looked again, and it seemed like it was the pioneer from the bus stop yesterday. Indeed, I was prepared for such weirdness today, so I wasn't really surprised, and I started this conversation quite clear-headed. You didn't believe him, did you? What are you talking about? Everything that he said. All right, but what is your opinion on what is happening? I'd already distanced myself from the outside world and decided to treat everything happening to me just like a fictional film, not reality. Hopefully it would give me more room to move around in terms of situational logic analysis. I guess that's fair. There is an exit. There has to be, he said excitedly. I don't know, but I'd like to believe that too. If you just... Semyon. I turned around. Slavia was standing right next to me. Who are you talking to? No one. Just talking to myself. I hardly think it's worth telling her about aliens from parallel worlds. She probably can't even see him anyway. Have you prepared already? Prepared for another hike? No. Today's the last day of the season. What? A stupid smile settled on my face. There'll be a bus this evening. We're leaving. Holy cow. I was ready for even the most incredible of twists, but was this what that mysterious pioneer was talking about? Probably it was. Well, apparently I'll have to go for a second lap and live yet another week in this camp. I was thinking the same thing, but this time I know everything. I haven't packed yet. It's not like I have much to pack anyway. Okay. Slavia shifted her gaze. Seems like she wanted to say something but hesitated. Well, see you then. Yeah. I had to ask when we're leaving at least. I went to the square with the intention of discovering that. There's got to be someone I know there. But believe it or not, there was only Genda waiting for me at the square. Probably all the pioneers were busy with packing. I took a seat on a bench and just stared at the sky. It turns out that today I'll just have to wait for the departure, pass out on the bus, and wake up in this camp again, just like the first day. Everything was drowning in silence. It's exactly that time of a summer day when the sun seems stuck in the sky. The birds and the crickets have gone on for a after-lunch doze, and the wind is saving its energy to deliver long-awaited coolness to people in the evening. It suddenly crossed my mind that I haven't just missed lunch, but I haven't had any breakfast either. It was ridiculous to search for anything in the canteen. The pioneers had already cleaned up everything just before the departure. I scratched my head and made my way to Olga's cabin. Surely there should be something edible in the tables drawer. Someone called for me just as I approached the door. Oh, sup boys. Shirk and Electronic swiftly approached the cabin. You already packed up? Already packed up, I answered, imitating him. You haven't quite been yourself the last few days. What makes you say that? How should I know? You'd know better. I mean, why are you so concerned? No reason. A real pioneer always treats a comrade's problems as his own. I cast a skeptical look at him. Thanks for your concern, I'm fine. You are such a jerk. You could have friends if you just let it happen. There actually was half a loaf of stale bread and a piece of smoked sausage in the drawer. I ate everything with deliberate pleasure, washing it down with smelly water that Olga probably used to water the plants. That's disgusting. Just as I finished, someone started knocking on the door. Come in. Ulyana rushed into the room. Oh, it's just you, she said disappointedly. And who did you expect to see? A circus complete with bears? Ulyana giggled. Where's Olga? Don't know. I struggled. I shrugged, not struggled. I shrugged. Why not? I don't know because I don't know. What do you want? What do you want from her anyway? Gotta ask her something before the departure. Okay, I'll tell her that you were searching for her if I see her. By the way, why aren't you packing up? Like I have much to pack. Well, see ya. She cracked a sly smile and bounded out of the cabin, slamming the door behind her. And still, it's really strange that nobody seems to be puzzled by the sudden departure. And why am I the only one who was not expecting it? Like everyone really cares if I pack my things up? As well as that, doesn't everyone care that this is the last time we're seeing each other? The words of that guy in the forest yesterday about all the camp's tenants being unreal suddenly sprang into my mind. Well, right now I'm more ready to believe it than ever. The desk drawer where I found my breakfast contained lots of odds and ends. I grabbed a pencil and a piece of paper, examined them for some time, and then slipped them into my pocket, just in case. I had no intention of watching over all the pioneers running around and packing, so I just laid in my bed and didn't even notice how I dazed off. Probably dozed off is what he meant. It was somebody's voice that woke me up. It's him! Is it the bus stop one or the parallel universe one? A familiar pioneer was sitting directly opposite with his back to me. I'd gotten used to him since a bit since yesterday, and it even seemed that I stopped fearing him. Hey, why do you always hide your face? Because you shouldn't see it. If you say so. I wasn't in a position to argue. So what are you going to reveal this time? You already know what it's the last day of the season, don't you? Or maybe a session of the session, don't you? Yep. And you've already spoken with that one? Yep. So what'd he tell you? Nothing special. He just said that there's an exit out of here. The pioneer burst into laughter. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that too, ages ago. And now? What is now? I have my past, my life back then. He stopped talking for some time. Anyway, it all was a little while ago, so I don't really remember. The future is all the same. Loops, 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 repetitions of the same story. Where is this now? Well, I hate to say it, but I'm not yet as lost in time as you are. Oh, that's nothing. That'll come with time. He broke into diabolic laughter. There's just one thing I don't understand. What's your reason for coming to me? What do you expect to achieve? Me? Nothing really. So why did you come then? It's just because of you. Him and others like us, the only real people around here. Given everything he'd said to me already, I just wasn't ready to believe that all the local tenants are just puppets in some kind of hellish stage play. Are you sure that you're right? Right about what? Well, that you're right about everything. I can't be right or wrong. I didn't choose this world. I didn't choose to throw myself in it. I'm just here, and you're just here. And you're just here. Listen, I've already got a headache from your philosophizing. I think it's how you would say that. Philosophizing, I guess. I was kind of puzzled myself as to why I was so calm talking to this mysterious pioneer. Well, here it is, right in front of me. All the fantasy and devilry that's happened in the camp. Here it is, an explanation, at least a partial one, of how I got here. Here they are, the answers I searched for such a long time. On the other hand, my behavior was quite logical. While I couldn't quite explain what was happening, this cuckoo guy just talked and talked, but it's not like his words had changed anything. Then what's the point of listening to him? Oh no, you'll understand everything yourself. Somebody was knocking at the door. I got up to open it. It was Slavy on the doorstep. You came to see Olga? No. Come in then. I was 100% sure that the pioneer had already disappeared. Turns out I was right. Slavy took a seat on the bed, and I snuggled against the wardrobe in the far corner of the room. She was distinctly nervous. Did something happen? Not really, it's just today's the last day. Well, I'm already aware, better late than never. Well, so I thought. I mean, we probably won't see each other ever again. It's a small world, as they say. But maybe you would give me your address to write letters? I would have, if only I knew it myself. You know, let's do it the other way around. You give me your address, I'll definitely write to you upon arrival. But why don't you want to give out yours? Well, we were just about to move, so you never know. It'd be better if I write to you. I tried to put it on my cutest smile to make my story look more credible. Oh, okay, it's fine then. Slavy got up and seemed to be leaving. Hey, wait, what about the address? Let's do it later. An expression of sorrow and disappointment crossed her face. I just shut the door, and right then I heard the spiteful voice of the pioneer from behind. Well, happy now? You've heard a girl. Big surprise. What have I heard her with? What should I have said to her? My dear, write to my dear granny in the village? Or should I have left her the address of a house that probably is not even built yet? So what? I'm not my brother's keeper? It's your world, not mine. I'll somehow manage in my own. The last phrase really made me squirm. You know what? I didn't manage to finish the phrase. Someone was knocking at the door again. Come in. Ulyana flew into the cabin. Why the rush, my lady? I made an excessively showy bow. Me, I'm just, her eyes darted about cautiously and her cheeks were blushed. Just wanted to say goodbye. There'll be time for that anyway. After all, we'll all be going on the same bus. Yeah, you're right, but it's kind of embarrassing in front of everybody. Oh, so there's something that you can be embarrassed by. I laughed. She pouted. I just wanted to tell you that you aren't a douche, really. In fact, you're almost a cool guy. Her words astonished me. Well, thanks. You're good to hang out with, too. Well, that's that. She rushed outside, slamming the door loudly. Hey, didn't expect that from her? Did you? I got nothing to do with that, I told you. It really looks like you knew what she will say. Maybe I did, maybe not. You just came here to mock me? I started to lose my temper. That idea had also crossed my mind. Then why the hell are you hanging around here? If I ever need a man to comment on all of my actions, I'll hire a professional psychologist. You think that after all this time I don't qualify as one? My estimation is that after all the time here, you've definitely gone bananas. All psychiatrists are freaks. Yeah, but not all freaks are psychiatrists. He laughed out loud. A sense of humor. How encouraging. Frankly, your jokes are fairly lame. Who are you laughing at? At yourself. Listen, if you've got nothing to do in your own world, go and bug that second one. And have you got anything to do in your world? The pioneer sharply countered. You know, I'll find out what to do. I'll pack up my things, leave the camp, and then what? Then what? Like I know. I've never been in such a situation before, believe it or not. It's just that you've forgotten that you won't be able to leave the camp. Yeah, he was right on that matter. Probably. Just because you failed to do so doesn't mean that I'll fail too. You're the boss. There was a knocking at the door, so quiet that I barely heard it. Damn, who else is it? I hissed under my breath and shouted, come in. But the door didn't open, so I pulled the handle myself. Lena was on the doorstep. It looked like I really scared her. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You can't see Olga? No, she said, staring at the ground. So what is it then? What did Lena want from me? Come in. She came in and hesitated in the middle of the room. You want to take a seat? I pointed at one of the beds. Lena hesitated a bit more, but nevertheless took a seat. Did something happen? Not at all. It's just, she threw a quick glance at me, but blushed at once and looked away. Here. Lena took something out of her pocket and handed it to me. I was stunned. It was my phone. But where did you get it from? I found it in the forest. Okay, but why did you think it's mine? Some boy told me so. Have you ever seen him before? I don't know. I couldn't see his face. He was dressed in a pioneer uniform. Everything was clear at once. And don't you wonder what it is? I looked at the screen. There was some battery left. Therefore, the cell phone shouldn't just look like a piece of plastic to Lena. I don't know. Some kind of game? Yeah, you're right. I quickly opened Snake in the menu and handed the phone to her. Here you go. A keepsake. What are you doing? I can't. Lena waved her hands at me. Take it. I have loads of those at home. She resisted a bit more, but finally took the device. And what do I do with it? Press the keys to move it right and left. You've got to eat these pellets to keep it from hitting your own tail. Wow, it's so interesting. She smiled. Thank you, and yet I have nothing for you. It's so embarrassing. I don't need anything. Thanks. No, that's not good, she said with a voice that sounded more confident than usual. It's the last dates day, after all. Yeah. I hope we'll meet again. I think we will. Then I have a present for you. And what is it? Close your eyes. All right, I'm ready to edit. Hang on. First of all, save. First of all, save. A lot is happening suddenly. And promise that you won't open them until I tell you. Okay. No, you have to promise. All right, I promise. In a moment, I felt a light kiss on my cheek. Aw, it was so adorable. I was really eager to open my eyes, but I promised. Open. Aw, the room was empty. What a girl. The only thing I managed to say. So, how's it feel, stud? I heard malicious laughter from the place where Lena had just been sitting. So, so that's your new way of pranking me, huh? Using the others? Me? Pranking? God forbid. Indeed, you got a kiss from a sweet girl thanks to me. On the cheek, but anyway. I really wanted to beat him up at that moment, but I wasn't sure that he's a physical being here. I presume that this prank wasn't your last one? I said calmer. Who knows? Who knows? Isn't it fun? The pioneer laughed hard. Perhaps Professor Moriarty laughed like that, anticipating the success of his diabolical plan. You're certainly having fun, but I'm not. Relax, dude. There's almost nothing left, but here you go, your second lap. After you do a dozen, then you'll earn a pit stop. Although you probably won't need me then. You'll figure everything out yourself. It's not like I need you right now either. Oh, what ingratitude. Just cut it out. If you'd ever... Just shut up already. No understanding. Shut your damn mouth. I screamed so loud that the walls trembled. The front door suddenly burst open and Alyssa came in. Is it just me, or has someone gone completely nutty nuts? She asked with fright. Well, you could say so, I answered angrily. Well, you could say so, I answered angrily. There you go. Why are you yelling? Because I want to. I've already realized that the accidental arrival of Alyssa was either planned by this pioneer or would be commented on by him in a manner that I'd sooner drive a pair of nails into my ears than have to hear. Have you gone psycho or something? Alyssa reclined on a bed in a laid-back manner. To what do I owe the honor? I just came for the sake of it, and you're just here screaming. You aren't doing anything you haven't done anything just for the sake of it. I've got nothing to do, pack my stuff, it's boring. Well. If you think that I came to you because... She threw an angry glance at me and turned away. I really shouldn't have come after that. After what? I haven't said a word. Of course, you thought it instead. Oh, so you can read minds now? There's no need to read your mind. It's written all over your face. It was hardly possible to read anything on my face besides fatigue and anger. And what have you read there? That's none of your business. Well, it's not like I'm holding you here. Forget it. I'll go wherever I please. Don't boss me around. Okay, stay here then, for God's sake. Anyway, I liked Alyssa's company was much more than the pioneers. I lay back and closed my eyes. It took Alyssa a few minutes to break the silence. You really don't want to tell me anything? For example, today's the last day after all. So you're happy? Well, she bowed uncertainly. Everyone's leaving. Good riddance. And that's all? You need something else? Didn't you like it here? Her voice sounded unusual. I've been seeing better places. Damn, you're so dumb and speaking to you is a complete waste of time. She got up and headed to the exit. Yep, good luck to you two. Alyssa turned to me. Her face was writhing with anger. Couldn't you at least have said that you'll miss me? Sure I will. Wimp. Oh, Semyon is such a dick. She slammed the door loudly. Stupid! Alyssa didn't hear my last line, of course. What a wayward chick, huh? As good as you are. And you, in that case. Of course. Keep comparing me to yourself, I remarked mischievously. But what's the difference? We're in the same situation. I've just been here a little longer. Well, in fact, a lot longer. And you've already gone completely nuts. No wonder. His hoarse laughter was already pissing me off. Listen, have I already told you that you should be an actor? You do a brilliant Hannibal Lecter, especially since you consider yourself a psychiatrist. I'll think about it. Well, now I must go. Maybe I'll see you again. Get lost. I turned to look at him, but the pioneer had already disappeared. Oh, finally. But nevertheless, why did he come? It might be that case that me, him, and others like us are the only real people around here, but I desperately didn't want to believe that. All his speech seemed like some sort of complex game. Like he's trying to give me one hint after the other, trying to lead me to something, and enabling me to discover some kind of devious plot. Too bad he's not really successful at that, because I'm out of ideas. Wow, there's so much going on. Suddenly things are developing. Time dragged on deceitfully slowly, but it's 5 p.m. already. It's common during the summer. If one counts the seconds and minutes, it appears that even a single hour would never end. But if one thinks of anything else, the whole day flies by quickly. That is so true. I decided to start packing. They could leave without me. I quickly took all my winter stuff and shoved it into a bag. I was almost about to jump onto the bed again, but the door opened and Olga came in. Oh, I see you're packed already? That's great, let's go. I got up reluctantly, grabbed my simple luggage, and followed her. And on the way, I apologized for my behavior, and I told her that I love her, and I'll see her soon. I really don't care what'll happen next. I had long suspected that nothing was up to me in this world, and recent events had reinforced my complete confidence in this. I might wake up tomorrow in bus number 410, or I might not wake up at all. But that's all, folks. It's that simple. There's no point in staying here. There's nowhere to run. Basically, my only exit is to leave on the bus with everyone else. Go into the unknown. That's all I've been doing for the last week, stumbling along a narrow path in pitch-black darkness, unsure of where is the beginning and where is the end. We were almost approaching the gates when I heard someone calling my name. Semyon, Semyon. Olga, excuse me just a minute. Okay, but make it fast or we'll leave without you. I headed for the bushes where the voice came from. Semyon, Semyon. I waded through the thick greenery and came out onto a forest path. The voice seemed to be calling from nowhere. One moment I heard behind a tree, and now it seemed to be behind my back. Probably it's one of those aliens from the parallel worlds, but I suspected that I haven't met this exact one before. We don't have much time. I'm listening. I know that you've already contacted by him and him. Yeah, and I know what they told you. Don't ask me how. Okay, but you must know that one thing, the thing I know, that there's more than a dozen of us here. In fact, more than 1,000. But a lot of people got out. I've tried to digest what he said and phrase the right questions. And then why are you here? I stayed. Why? To help others find an exit. Wow, how generous. And why should I trust you? You're the third one already. Well, in fact, I'm not even sure that you aren't all just my hallucination. It's not about trust. Then what is it about? It's about the right choice. Consider the camp to be a giant maze. You should take a few right turns to find an exit. Okay, but how do I know which ones are right? You'll know. Come with me. Where to? To the second lap. Hold on a sec. The pioneer said that my second lap will start tomorrow. He lied. The speaker raised his voice. He's going completely crazy and he's trying to destroy all the others. So if I don't go with you and leave on the bus, then I'll be destroyed, right? I don't know. Then why do you say so? Nobody ever returned after a conversation with him. Listen, why should I trust you? I was definitely on the edge. While that pioneer just mocked me and didn't seem to be a real danger, this one clearly spoke about things worth being anxious about. I couldn't decide which one I should trust. The problem is that like trying to build a blind man to say whether the light in the room is on or off. He can only guess, just like me. Hurry up, time's running out. Hey, wait a sec. Make a choice. Are you coming or not? Okay, so it looks like our choice before us is the following. Go with this voice, supposedly, and we exit this whole loop. Option B, ignore the voice and stay in the loop forever. So, we did save it here, so I say we follow the voice. I kind of feel like I trust this particular voice. I think he's telling the truth. We're going to go with him and exit. However, we did save it, so if we wanted to go back, we also could totally do that. Okay, let's go. Anyway, he sounded more credible than the crazy pioneer. Of course, this solution could be fatal, but the alternative isn't any better. I just took a shot in the dark. Okay, so where are we going? We're already there. My eyesight started to fade, and I felt my consciousness leaving me. I got assimilated into the voice. No, I don't know if that's the truth or not. Achievement unlocked. Epic fail. Uh-oh. What on earth? Semyon bad end. Oh no. Methinks I chose poorly, fam. Uh-oh. I killed us! Hang on a minute. Isn't it like Alt-Shift to open the Steam overlay? No. Control-Shift? No. Hang on a minute. I'm trying to figure out how if I can open the Steam overlay. I'm trying to remember how to do it. It's not Alt-Tab. I know that. There's some freaking death metal going on here. Okay. Load game. Load that choice. Okay, so we died basically. He said my consciousness leaving me. We got an achievement for killing us. Let's not follow the voice this time. No, you know what? I just can't believe you in only a couple of minutes. At least I've known the other guy a little longer, and his arguments seem to be more weighty. You'll be sorry. Those words sounded like they were coming from another world. The voice seemed to disappear. Of course, I couldn't be sure whether my choice is right or wrong. It was a blind guess enforced by a time limit. Nevertheless, whether I'm right or not, we'll find out soon. In a couple of minutes, I was standing at the bus stop with all the other pioneers. So I find out the other one gets us killed. Fun fact. So, you know, now we know. Everybody here? Began Olga. We're leaving our camp today, and I'd like to tell you something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I hope that you'll remember the time we spent here for a lifetime, and that you'll retain only pleasant memories about the camp. I also hope that you became at least a little bit better, managed to learn something, and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader looked away. It's like she was trying to keep the tears inside. I didn't expect her to get so emotional, although her speech sounded like complete nonsense to me, as usual, because he's a dick. The pioneers started to crowd into the bus, babbling cheerfully. Olga, we don't deserve you. You're too good for us. We don't deserve you. Semyon doesn't deserve you. You're too good for this world. I decided to hold on a little and say a proper goodbye to the camp. All of a sudden, I felt a deep urge to throw a coin. Of course, there's no fountain here, and honestly, I didn't feel like returning, but it's just like a superstition, and I don't believe in them. At least, I never believed in them before. Digging through my pockets, I found only a couple of candy wrappers, a pencil, and a scrap of paper. I held them for a moment, then I squatted, put the paper on the ground, and scribbled a few words. You are here for a reason. Grinning at my stupidity, I threw the scrap under the wheels of the bus and got into the cabin. I found a place in the middle. But the strangest thing was that everyone sat in pairs and only I was alone. However, what's the difference now? I'd either disappear or restart everything in a couple of hours. The bus was slowly moving towards the district center, occasionally bouncing over the bumps in the road. It was impossible to see anything beyond the old windows in the pitch black dark of the night. Anyway, I couldn't care less about the surrounding countryside. I just sat and waited for the inevitable. For the first time in a long while, my head was completely empty. The pioneers around me enjoyed the trip. Ulyana and Alyssa were playing cards, Lena was reading a book, and Slavia was sleeping. Miku was trying in vain to start a conversation with Xenia, and Xenia was trying really hard not to start killing people. Electronic and Shirk were crafting something as always. I was the only one completely ignored by everyone. It might be slightly far-fetched perception. I got used to the role of being the center of the universe in the camp. I thought that everything revolved around me. Well, that might be so up to a certain degree, but here and now I had only a foreign object, an out-of-piece molecule in the harmonic pattern of a crystal grid. Interesting. I'm not sure how long we spent on the road, but sleep had already started to overcome me. I was desperately fighting Morpheus, trying to stay awake as long as I could. After all, it's quite possible that today is the last day of my life. Then, probably, it's reasonable to cling as hard as I could to these few hours of meaningless, useless existence. What a dystopian view on life. However, physical fatigue and more importantly, emotional fatigue took its toll and I fell asleep. And I didn't wake up and I died. No. And I woke up to round 2. Day ... So we are at our time about right now, but we're going to keep pressing on. We are very close, I think, to the end. A sharp pain throbbed through my entire body. Hey, look, guys, the format changed. I felt it especially sharply in my temples. It feels like they were all ready to shatter, like into 1,000 little pieces, giving the wind free access to my empty head. Probably, I would not have been able to stand even 5 minutes of such torture if I hadn't opened my eyes in time. I was somewhere. It was impossible to tell precisely where. My mind was clouded in mist. My thoughts were confused. The moment between the consciousness and the unconscious and conscious states when you vividly remember your dreams. Whoa, who is she? I was going somewhere by bus and was about to doze off when suddenly a girl came up to me and began to speak quickly. I couldn't understand a word, but the girl looked very upset. I failed to understand what she needed from me. Time passed and she kept talking on and on. It was getting really annoying because he's a dick. I wanted to see her to cut it out, or to ask her to cut it out or calm down a bit, but I failed. Either because I didn't manage to say anything or because my words didn't reach her. I couldn't even see her face. I was simply listening and staring and listening. Perhaps it wasn't important for me then. Surely you would not try to remember what a mosquito disturbing your sleep looks like. This guy is an asshole. Wow, I hate him. Surely you wouldn't manage to recall the frequency of its flapping wings or the inclination of its proboscis after that, or whatever that word is. And this girl is just one of millions of voices that disturb you from concentrating, from thinking, from falling asleep. The louder her voice grew, the harder it got for me to catch her words. The bus cabin, the seats worn by time, the uneven floor, the rusty ceiling, the cracked glass of the windscreen, everything was floating away, along with her. And then I felt a unique sense of relief. It didn't matter how real the bus and the girl had been, it was nothing but a bug to me. And here I am, hanging in total emptiness and failing inside a dream. Whoa, we're back to greatness. Wow, dreams can really be something. Not quite a nightmare, yet definitely not something pleasant. I got up, rubbed my face back to reality, gave out a loud yawn, and prepared to clean myself up. It was a really gray morning. Unable to find my hygiene kit on the nightstand, I concluded that I could manage without it. It was hard to get dressed, my hands were trembling like hell. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and checked out my 2-week stubble. Well, perhaps Olga has a razor. It was only when I went outside that I suddenly understood that I'm not in a pioneer camp. I'm back in my apartment, and I've just come out of my room into a passageway, not out of a cabin. I was overwhelmed with surprise, with dismay, with fear, even with terror. But how? I sat down on the bed and buried my face into my hands, trying to remember the chain of yesterday's events. Yeah, the bus, the last day of the term. Yeah, I fell asleep and woke up back home. Well, to some degree, it might even seem quite logical. It seemed that the initial astonishment has worn off during the last few seconds. After all, the fact that I came back like this after a week-long absence is no stranger than my sudden appearance at some pioneer camp in the 80s in the first place. The events of the last 2 days flashed before my eyes in an instant. That mysterious pioneer, his words. But how did I manage to get back to reality then? According to him, I was going to be stuck here there forever, as there's no exit. On the other hand, I wasn't alone. That pioneer at the bus stop and the mystery voice emphasized the contrary, that the exit exists. Does that mean I found it? I managed to get out of the endless loop? But how? Nevertheless, I wasn't sure I should rejoice or grieve. Over the last week, I've kind of gotten used to the everlasting inner monologue, the search for answers, and the in-depth analysis of everything so I simply couldn't accept So I simply couldn't accept this fact as it was without figuring out what exactly happened to me. Sorry, I had like such a dyslexic moment, my brain shut off for a moment there. Anyway, sorry. Sure, he told me that I'm the only one who has observed the existence of other guys like me during their very first loop, but does that mean anything? Anyway, all his theories and ideas instantly collapsed like a house of cards. Now I had to decide how I should react. Of course I should rejoice. After all, I'm back in the real world. Maybe the last 7 days were just a dream. Indeed, there's absolutely no evidence that I was actually there. I couldn't see my pioneer uniform anywhere. I looked my age just like I did before. My phone is on the table, fully charged. But one can't deceive one's own memory. One can't live through such terrifically real experiences in a dream. And I still remember the events of the whole week in great detail. Perhaps I was in a coma all this time? An ironic laugh escaped my lips. Nah, that's not an option either. Then all's well that ends well? The last few hours in the camp flashed through my mind. Indeed, I wasn't hoping to get out, either from that camp or from the reality, and I was pretty much ready for another week. And another one. Yeah, I've accepted my role, and I've reconciled with my destiny. And what was I supposed to do after all this stuff had happened? I heaved a doomed sigh, got up from my bed with considerable effort, and went to my computer. That's weird, but according to it, only 14 hours have passed since my disappearance from the real world, not a whole week. Doesn't surprise me, probably time was different. A new message in the instant messenger. Hi Semyon, yesterday it was legendary, see you later. My college friend, it was him who invited me to that party with the rest of my college friends that I was going to attend. Suddenly, all my senses came back to me, the headache, the dizziness, all the symptoms of a hangover. It looks like I indeed attended that party yesterday, and I was partying hard, so there was no pioneer camp? But then where did all these emotions, emotions, and feelings come from? All of this was incomprehensible that I became enraged. I began cursing foully, trying to tear my hair out and hammering on the keyboard with my fists. I didn't return to a normal state until there were no keys left on it. That's kind of stupid. Why should I care so much? Nobody worries what a dream or hallucination ends. Moreover, people are usually glad when it happens. Was I really that prepared to stay there that my return to reality became so undesirable? Obviously, because now we're back to dystopian hangover college, like post-college life. Whereas before you had friends and you could have been a better person. Of course it's sad. And then a simple and obvious thought crossed my mind. Perhaps I'm just going insane. Indeed, madmen frequently have visions that they perceive as reality. Perhaps I had all these symptoms of insanity. I never leave the four walls of my prison. I never socialize. I have lots of psychological problems. Well, that explains a lot. My dark, nervous laughter echoed in the room. Guess it's the right time for me to visit a therapist, or rather a psychiatrist, or should I just surrender myself to the asylum? A horse, half my kingdom for a horse. I cried at the top of my lungs between bouts of manic laughter. He has lost his mind. Dispute not with her. She is a lunatic. The racket my neighbors made on the wall calmed me down somehow. If I'm tripping that bad, it looks like only a lobotomy could help me. I just sat completely freaked out for several hours, doing nothing, thinking nothing, just staring at the monitor. Long since gone into sleep mode. Finally, I moved the mouse and opened a few new tabs in the drawer. So what's new? F5, F5. As if the events of the past week had never happened. Come on, do you have to grieve for a hallucination? Was it real? Sure. Lots of memories? Sure. Looks true enough? By all means, yeah. Any proof? Nope. The verdict is clear, as is my future course. I have long suspected that my current lifestyle wasn't doing me any good. No shit. I wasn't ready for such an unusual event, but so what? I'll have to be more prepared for my next trip. Night. An endless stream of threads and images took my mind off my lamentations and considerations. An instant message window popped up most unexpectedly. Hi, how you doing? Sure, quite an original way to start a conversation. Doing fine? The contact's profile was completely empty. Not even a nickname, just a 9-digit number. You can't guess what kind of person is on the other end just looking at a number, can you? Sure, someday it'll all be different. Unified digital identities instead of names, a couple of symbols for a biography, several bytes of personality, and 3.5 bits of feelings. Get home safely? Probably someone from yesterday's party. Seems like it. You do remember everything I told you yesterday, right? Well, I guess not. There was yet another message after a long pause. I see. Honestly, I don't give a damn who this is and why he's messaging me. Until this unidentified individual starts harassing me, I could easily tolerate his presence in my contact list. Well, that's okay. We'll meet again. We surely will. Sure, looking forward to it. Yeah. Alright. Bye. I didn't reply. This odd screwed up day at last was slowly coming to an end. Going to bed, I yet again recalled in my head all the events that seemed so real for me. Where am I going to wake up tomorrow? Would these hallucinations return? Nah, I'll probably just forget everything. Strange, but now I'm really feeling that everything happening now is real. There was just a fiction, a game of deformed imagination, or really something fantastical, and here is reality. Sometimes inconvenient, sometimes it unfolds differently from how you wish. Sometimes you'd like this, but it's still reality. I fell asleep with these thoughts. Bit by bit, my life resumed its normal course, and I started to forget the events of that week. After all, nothing bad had happened. Even if it was indeed real, who cares? There was only 7 days in a pioneer camp. I wasn't killed. Nobody kidnapped me to conduct experiments. I wasn't brainwashed, so why do I care now about the reason? And if I indeed was a hallucination, and if it indeed was, I could only hope that it won't repeat itself. I was still a shut-in. My computer and the internet were my only friends, and the keyboard was the only communications channel connecting me to the outside world. The F5 key became the main thing in my life again. Come to think of it, it really wasn't all that bad. Yet one day, a familiar combination of digits popped up on the screen. The strange contact of mine had come online once again. Hey, how you doing? Doing fine? I probably knew him from somewhere, but who cares anyway? Any news? Not really. Stability is a sign of true class? One might say so. I see. Oh, I see. The conversation was over for me, but he didn't seem to feel like that. So, nothing has changed? Nope. Should it have? Well, it's not like you have experienced stuff like that one day-to-day basis. Not everybody gets to experience it either. What are you talking about? Don't you get it? I was starting to. I'd prefer you to explain. Don't you remember the camp? It felt like an electronic shock. All of the events of that week immediately sprang up to my mind. My hands started to tremble, a cold sweat burst from my forehead. I turned around in horror, already imagining that I'd see aliens, ghosts, or the Grim Reaper, but there was no one in my room except me, as always. I ran to the corridor, checked it in the kitchen and the bathroom, still nobody. At last, I returned to the computer. The same message window was still flashing steadily, as if it was a perfectly ordinary message. Who are you? My hands are trembling so much I could hardly hit the right keys. Oh, so you do remember it. My hallucinations seem to be continuing, or did I leave the camp at the first place? Or was it just a dream after all? Or I don't know what to say, I admitted sincerely. Anyway, I felt that this entity, that's the only really definition I could think of, doesn't need any kind of internet to communicate with me. Well, you can just keep silent, everything's perfectly clear. XD! The smiley at the end of the line looked like the devil himself, stretching its deformed jaws open to devour me. What is happening to me? I finally made up my mind to ask the question. Nothing at all. You're just living your regular life. But the camp, was it real? And what do you think? I'm not sure. If it seemed real to you, then yes, it was real. If not, then it wasn't. It's that simple. It's not simple at all. Then what'll happen next? I whispered. Nothing to worry about. It seemed that it really hurt me without the use of the internet. Terror chained my whole body. I closed my eyes and curled myself into a ball. Man, what a sissy. Why are you doing this to me? I started to lose it. Words were coming out of my mouth by themselves. Illogical, meaningless sets of words. Why me? What for? Blah, 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 complaining. Leave me alone. I haven't done anything bad. Several minutes later, after I found the courage to open one eye, I took a look at the monitor. You are the reason for everything. The message window was flickering coldly. And what's next? Oh, you'll see that soon enough. Smiley. Everything started fading to black in my eyes, noise filling my ears, and I started to feel dizzy. I felt that my very soul was escaping its physical shell. The events of the last few days became hazy, as if they'd all happened to someone other than me. Then the memories of the camp started to vanish, as if somebody was using an eraser to thoroughly rub out words written with a pencil. Moments later, I felt and sensed nothing, as though I was plunged into a state of cosmic bliss. If anyone saw me at the moment, they would notice that I was smiling. This guy's such a nut job. I'm kind of stuck here. I hit the report spam button, closed the window, switched to the browser, and glanced at the clock. Time to get going or I'm gonna be late. Forever alone. Ugh, such a true achievement. Every story has a beginning and its end. Every story has its own outline, synopsis, contents, key points, a prologue, and an epilogue. And there is no book which, if you read it again, would not reveal new details you didn't notice before. Every story has its beginning and its end. Almost every. Interesting. Interesting. And I'm assuming that's it. See? Interesting. I'm surprised if my little achievement thing didn't pop up here. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to accelerate. Oh, just let me go back. Thank you. See, where's all this? All this love that doesn't exist. I didn't do anything wrong, did I? See what I mean? Like, look at all these moments that I didn't see. Like, is this something I failed to do? Like, I'm so confused. Like, what? Like, it only felt like there's two endings. Either go. See, I saw a couple of these, but most of these I didn't see. And I was trying to romance Slavia and Lena and freaking Olga even. But, like, I didn't have any of these moments. So, thank you and goodbye for now. I saw that one. Not that one. Again, where are all these moments that I missed somehow? Interesting. And there it is. I'm so confused. So far we've seen two endings, and we got an achievement for one of them, but the other one didn't pop, or if it did, I didn't see it. So as soon as this disappears, it'll get us back to a menu, I assume, or something. Okay, so we're back just like that. All right, now I'm assuming you should still be able to hear me, even if all you see is the menu. I am opening my little Steam page here, and I'm gonna go look at this game. So, there we go. Achievements. Show me achievements. Nope, just like show me all the achievements. There we go. Achievements. All right, so we have. Okay, so it didn't pop, but it said Semyon good end. Okay, so it doesn't say collect or open all images. Oh, okay, so these are all hidden achievements. It doesn't tell you. Okay, so it won't show them to you. Okay, in that case, we're gonna do a quick Google search, and I'll probably just see you guys in a minute. Okay, we are back. So here is the shizzle here. All right, the shizzle my nizzle. There is no less than 14 endings. 14. All right, so just think about that for 1 minute. No less than 14 endings. So here's the thing. We got 2 of them. Let me go ahead and check what endings we got. Now again, you should be able to still hear me even though all you're seeing is the menu. Okay, so we got the Semyon Forever Alone, like, supposedly it's the good ending. So of course this is one ending where he just goes back to his apartment life and he hates his life or whatever. So that was one we got. We also got Epic Fail, bad ending, so we just went and died. So those are the 2 we got. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 other endings. However, let's see, a lot of them are bad, so we don't need all of them. One of them is, alright, there's the Semyon bad ending, but we got that. So there is a Slavia good and bad ending. There is an Alyssa good and bad ending. There is a Lena good ending. Let's see. I think there's a Lena bad ending. Yeah, there is a Lena good and bad ending. There is an Olyana good and bad ending. There is a Miku. There is a Miku / Masha ending. I don't know why it calls her Masha. Her name is Miku. Anyway, so this is one of the special routes. And then there is another character's ending that I don't even know who she is. And then there's also a harem ending. And then there is a Xenia ending as well. But this one looks like this one's weird. Like looks like there's a lot of other stuff to this last one, to Xenia. But yeah, so there's a lot of endings. I want to get them all. Now I'm thinking we'll probably skip the bad endings because I don't want to see everyone. I don't want to see failure. There's no reason to. But the point is, we're gonna need to see the Alyssa good ending, the Lena good ending, the Olyana good ending, the Miku good ending, the Yulia, I think is how you pronounce it, the Yulia ending, the harem ending as well, and then of course the Slavia good ending, and then possibly the Altogether is the one I'm most excited for, and then the Xenia ending. Now I have a window open in front of me. You guys can't see it. That is a quick guide on how to get every ending. And so we are going to do it. We are going to do it. Now, there is some things in this guide I'm not entirely sure what they're getting at. Let's see. Yeah, there's a few of these I'm not entirely sure. I might have to look up how to play that card game because like some of these are dependent on what you're supposed to do here. So, anyway, but all right. Anyway, so the point is there's a lot to do. So, firstly, I need to save this page because we're gonna need it. I don't know where to put this. Just, I don't know. I don't know, bookmarks. I don't know where. I'm using a new browser. It works faster, but. And I'm assuming if I go in here, I'll be able to find it. Yeah, alright, that'll work. Anyway, so now I have it bookmarked. But the point is, that is where we are going to have to call this episode. But we're not done. We are not done. We are going to get all of these good endings. So here is our test here. I need to test something. So, really quick, we're not actually starting a new one. I just want to see. The same thing every night. That's all forgot in the morning. Maybe it's for the best. Only a glimpse. I just want to see. Okay. Let's see. I just want to see here. I'm trying to see if there's like a skip button. Okay, we are back. So apparently, if you hit Control, haha, there we go. Okay. Yeah, sure. It doesn't matter. We're not actually doing this. Okay. Beautiful. So that's the point. Is now there is a quick. I now have a quick, efficient way of skipping text I've seen. That is going to be invaluable because we are going to need that when we go through all of these endings. Now, we are going to get all of the good endings. So next episode is going to be weird because I'm going to have this other window open for me, and we're going to have to skip to all the dialogues that we want. Now, I think it'll still probably be able to finish it in one episode, mostly because we're skipping through everything. We're just going to dialogue choices and getting very certain outcomes. And because I can skip text, I think we could probably get it done in one more video. So next episode, I thought this one was going to be our finale, depending on our endings. But now that I see all the endings we got, I don't want to miss all that stuff. So we are gonna hit it. I don't want to jip out. I'm not gonna jip you guys, or isn't that the word, like jip? Anyway, I don't want to stiff you guys, so we are going to get our good endings. It's going to happen. Everyone's going to be happy. We are going to get our harem ending. It's going to happen. So next episode will be a doozy. We'll be skipping through to get our perfect outcomes and see happily ever after for everybody. And it'll be pretty sweet, man. So that is the plan. And that's it for everything. So I think uploads tomorrow should be normal. Isn't today, what's today, Friday? Today's Friday, yeah. So tomorrow I am recording even though it's Saturday because we did miss Monday, I believe. So I will be recording Saturday, and so tomorrow should be normal recordings, and of course it will be big for this game because we have lots of endings to get to. So very excited for that, and I will be recording Saints Row right after this. So if you are interested, you're more than welcome to go check it out. And I think that's everything. Anyway, that is going to call it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.